Like I'm in the big leagues. Yeah, I told him I'ma hit it out of stands. I deserve another 100 bands. I deserve another 100 fans. Told them this was always in the plans. I just did it cause they said I can. Blowing euros when I'm down in France. Labels asking how I build a brand. Told them put a check up in my hands. Boy got time, no cap. Made a few checks, but they all in the rest. Had a few friends, but they suck in the past. I don't even trip when I'm thinking about that. Hopped in the whip and we all in black. Shawty wanna ride till the hop in the back. 0 to 100, seen the rev on the dash. They ain't catching up, dog, I'm moving too fast. I'm in the big leagues. Told them don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, ayy, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bruh, send it through quickly. I'm making hits, dog, like I'm in a big league.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to TDPHINSTALK, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. We're going to pick up where we left off earlier. We're going to continue the conversation. Let me sit back, man. I got my strobe lights going, so let me dim the lights on y'all. You're going to kick back and relax, man. That's what I'm talking about. Just chill, man. Let's chill. Let's talk. I'm going to bring some people on. We're going to have a conversation about this. Shout out to Horsey Head in the Bahamas. What's up, homie? I hope all is well. Let me make sure the homie get his mod back. But shout out to the mods. Y'all please hit that like button. We only got 200 people in here, but we need that like button hit. Let's get 100 likes because I'm about to expose a lie real quick. I'm about to show y'all how bad it is out here in our community with these lies, man. I'm about to expose a big lie that was told this week. Hit that like button, man. Let's get 100 likes. Let's get it up. If you appreciate the content, enjoy the content, let's get that like button up. This is our third stream today. We did the Tom Brady retirement this morning. We did the Brian Flores bombshell. So this is the third stream, so they're not sending the notification out. So I need y'all help to hit that like button so they'll notify the rest of the subscribers that we are live because they don't know we live right now. So hit that like button so they'll start sending that notification out. And I appreciate everybody who's doing that and rocking with us right now. So we almost at the 200. So hit that like button. All right, man. All right, we got 100 likes. Let's get started. Listen, y'all all already know the news. We talked about it earlier. We had 1,150 people in the stream at one point. So a lot of people know what's going on, okay? Let me expose some stuff real quick. Let me ask y'all a question. Do y'all remember the first round of interviews for the head coaching job for Miami? Do y'all remember the first round of interviews? When was the first round of interviews? Y'all let me know in the comment section. I'm going to get y'all mind thinking too. Y'all know I don't sugarcoat nothing. When was the first round of interviews for the Dolphins head coaching job? Early last week, right? Early last week. Did Mike McDaniels have his second interview yet? Yes or no in the comment section. Did Mike McDaniels have his second interview yet? Put it in the comment section. So I'm glad all y'all know he didn't have his second interview. But remember, at first, they say they were going to interview him on Monday, right? That's why somebody in the comment section said yesterday. Remember the report over the weekend, Mike McDaniels will have his second interview on Monday. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? They said his second interview will be Monday. Now, we recently learned that his second interview ain't until Thursday. But do you remember the report that came out yesterday that Mike McDaniels was in the building all day and they were very happy? He talked about how he could win with Tua and how to unlock Tua. And y'all remember that? He was in the building for the most part yesterday, and he explained to them how he could unlock Tua, need to speed things up, and how he could win with Tua. And the sad part about it, it was a blue check mark. Y'all see what I'm talking about? Do y'all see what I'm talking about? Do you see the lies and deceit and the crap that goes on out here? And everybody believed that crap yesterday. I laughed about it. But everybody believed it yesterday. Even to this point right now, some people still believe it. They're like, well, he feel like he could fix Tua. He said it. Y'all see what's happening out here? I mean, we got bigger issues now, but the narrative lying just to make it look like somebody believes in Tua, it's got out of control. Somebody said, what's a blue check mark mean? It's a verified person on Twitter. Some people pay for it, but it's to be verified on Twitter. Everybody thinks if you got a blue check mark that you're a credible person. When in reality is, if you work for a company, and like you're a personality or somebody like that, you can get a blue check mark because you are who you say you are. That's really what it is. All of us can get blue check marks, by the way, if you can prove that you are who you say you are and you have some type of prominence as far as position or anything like that. But this is ridiculous, man. The level of lies that are created to make one person try to look like they're better than what they are. And that lie was even worse because you weren't even lying to make the person look better. You were lying just to make it seem like a coach said that he could fix them. Big O ran with it. They tell me I need to start listening to Big O, so a lot of my haters, they come over. You need to start listening to Big O if you want some real content. That's what they tell me every time. That's their comeback for me. It's such a shame. This is why when I hear contradicting information, I sit back and I wait. Do y'all know this Brian Flores bombshell? For 30 minutes, I couldn't believe it. I kept searching. I kept waiting. I'm like, I need more sources. I need this is so crazy. I believe it because of information that I know. Before it to come out, this is so crazy that I can't go live. I got to wait till I confirm it. Soon as I confirmed it, like 25 minutes later, like it took me 25 minutes. I had already had it. And I'm just like, no, I got to see a certain amount of people. I got to see certain people report it. because this is such a bombshell. I thought it was Tuanon that created it just to play around. I promise y'all, the first time I saw it, I thought Tuanon created it to play around, to make a mockery of Flores. I thought they were just playing to make a mockery. But this is why I tell y'all, man, you can't listen to these fake people out here spreading narratives and running with narratives that ain't even true. And I just thought about that. I was like, hold on. McDaniel's interview is Thursday. They said his interview was supposed to be Monday. And then there's a report that said that he was in the building all day and they love what they heard. And McDaniel's selling point was him being able to fix Tua and all of that stuff. And I'm just like, and I ain't gonna lie, I told everybody, if McDaniel said that, they should have walked him out the building. And I'm actually glad to hear that that was false. I'm actually glad to figure out that that was false. Because I was like, if that man said that, they need to walk him out the building. It's embarrassing, man. We need to stop that in this community. These people have a responsibility to give accurate information. And if it's inaccurate, at least come back and correct yourself. Like, shout out to Omar Kelly. I see him on Twitter now. He moonwalking, backtracking everything he said. Now he on Twitter he talked to his brother and stuff, who's a lawyer, and this could be really bad for the Dolphins and all that crazy stuff. I'm glad he getting it right. I'm glad he getting it right. What's up, Logger Winner? But this is definitely a bombshell for this organization. It's almost like, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here, man? And they on Twitter just going crazy with funny memes and stuff. They going ham on Twitter. I was on there just laughing my behind off. Y'all remember the NFC Championship game with Mike McDaniels in the booth when they scored that Deebo Samuels touchdown and Mike McDaniels was high-fiving? They on Twitter talk about Mike McDaniels making another $100,000 losing. High-fiving in the booth. I'm like, they ain't right, man. They already on it. They already clowning this situation. And I'm a clown it too. But there's also a serious element to this that cannot go ignored. There is a major issue in America, but in the NFL, that is very obvious. I want y'all to think about this. In the last 2 years, there has been 16 head coaching vacancies. One of them was filled by an African American in the last 2 years. So we're not even talking about Flores. One of those positions was filled by an African American, and he was fired after the first year, David Culley. And y'all know he was just a stand-in guy for 1 year in Houston. I want y'all to really think about that. 16 head coaching vacancies, and you always got 10 African-American candidates to be a head coach. And only one of them filled a position, and that was only because of all the turmoil they were going through. And it was just for a sit-in for 1 year. Think about that. If you don't think that you think that really just happened by chance, I wouldn't know what to say to you. If you think that just happens by chance, 16 jobs. One was African American, and he was expected to be fired the day they hired him. He was expected to be fired when the season was over as soon as they hired him. If you want to be one of those people that think that is just a coincidence, I really don't know what to say. There is an issue. There is an issue. And somebody made a great point, because I know some people are joking, but some people are serious about Flores should have just did it, tanked. But you know the messed up part about asking your coach to tank? He has to live with a season where he didn't win no games or won 1 or 2 games. He got to live with that season on his resume, doing the owner's bidding. He got to carry that record. He got to look bad. That's unfair. It's really unfair. Jordan Futch said, after the Chucky situation and now this, every team is having to look internally. Man, it's going to be even worse. This is going to be a groundbreaking situation in the NFL, ladies and gentlemen. And I saw the reports. Jim Harbaugh looks like he's definitely going to be signing with the Vikings. That was a give-in at this point, and I still don't think we even tried to do our due diligence to even try to get him, to be honest with y'all. I know all these rumors that, they had a plan, it's going to be Harbaugh. I don't even think they spoke to the man. It's crazy, man. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, this is just an overall bad look. Where do we go from here? How do we recover from here? Like, the Dolphins has hired Mike McDaniels. Okay. All right. Now what? Now we got to deal with this cloud over our head. Not to mention, you got a new coach who might have to deal with the repercussions of what happened in the past anyway. Oh, y'all think this going to go down like that? We might be dealing with an owner who has to sell, draft picks, multiple first rounders being taken away, suspensions. We might have to deal with some real nasty stuff. Truth be told, TD, this only the tip of the iceberg. Yep. They hire Flo to fold and be a yes man. They wouldn't try no big names like that. 1,000%. They wanted him to be the fall guy, the guy who did their dirty work. And that man's integrity would not allow him to do it. And we got people out here trying to villainize him for that. Villainizing him for not wanting to start his coaching career pretty much 0-16 probably. Being used to do all the dirty work. And the sad part about it is, sometimes when they use you like that, they end up throwing you away and bringing in a big name coach after you done built everything. After you done sacrificed with your blood, sweat, and tears. It's simple. Appreciate your Hermes. It's simple, man. This type of stuff ain't gonna be ignored, man. I can't wait to see Flores. I see Flores. He probably gonna be the nervous type, knowing that the whole. Do y'all really? I think he's probably setting in on him right now. Dang, I'm used to doing press conferences, but the whole world might be watching me tomorrow. Like literally, at least America. Like the ratings are gonna be through the roof for CBS in the morning. The ratings are gonna be through the roof. CD, get on your mods. What's going on with the mods? Is something crazy happening? I'll keep an eye out for it. The ratings are going to be sick because you got people tweeting in other industries, dogging the NFL on Twitter right now. Everybody said what I said. How dare they say unmerited?
Everybody, you got people in every industry. You got CEOs that's out here tweeting. How dare the NFL say unmerited? I read the whole lawsuit. Unmerited. It's embarrassing. And I'm telling y'all, if the NFL want to lie, they could at least wait 24 to 48 hours to do it. It's nothing to do that. I mean, why would you come out an hour and a half after it all came out talking about unmerited? You did a whole investigation between the Broncos, the Dolphins, and the Giants in an hour and a half. It's embarrassing, NFL. Like I said, at least come out and say, we're looking into the situation. We value equality and fairness. We try to do all that crap PR. At least do that. But you came out and defended yourself right away. Unmerited. Shame on the NFL, and they getting drugged on Twitter right now for their words. It's embarrassing, man. I'm about to drop the link. I want to hear from some of you guys. There were certain people that I actually invited as well. If you're one of those individuals I invited, the link is there. Listen, if I didn't invite you, don't get mad. I may bring you in, but it might be a while. I got to make sure I bring in the people that I invited first. But you can come backstage because I want to hear from some of you guys. FM and Esteban beefing. All right, man. I guess let's come together, y'all. Let's just come together. Let's come together. Please. And also, if you're backstage, make sure you cam up. Make sure you cam up. Let me see. And again, we're not having no drama tonight, all right? Listen, we ain't having no drama. That's something I ain't got the patience to deal with it tonight. See some of y'all in the comment section. Zero drama. Let's make sure that we maintain that. What's up, Color?
Hey, how you doing, TD?
I'm great, homie. Talk to me, man. What's your thoughts on all this? I ain't heard from you yet.
Man, I am just absolutely livid about the whole situation. I've been warning the community to stop the dehumanization for the last 2 weeks.
You have. You've been on multiple platforms saying that.
I've specifically called it dehumanization for a certain reason because I usually don't feed into all that stuff, but that's what we witnessed. Yeah. You know, I want to point out something about a particular journalist that we all, well, maybe not me personally, but that this community owes a huge apology to, and that's Mike Florio. Okay, this man has been slandered by our community for the last 2 weeks, all because the things he was told by legit sources he's had for 20, 30 years, and he couldn't reconcile and make sense with the reports about Flores being the one pushing for Watson and all that. So all he did was come out and say, this don't make sense. And our community proceeded to lambaste him and slander him. Okay. And now these faux YouTube journalists that want to stoke the tiger of a real journalist just got taken to school.
You're right. And let me say this, man. Shout out to him, because people who really knew what was going on and heard stuff, they were scratching their head like, what are all these reports? Like, I would talk to EM almost every day. EM could tell you that now in the comment section. He can verify it. I told EM every day, this stuff ain't making sense based off of what I'm hearing. I told EM that every single day. Some of these reports don't make no sense based off of what I'm hearing. So I'm not surprised, bro. people who knew what was really going on, they were scratching their head the whole time. Like, what is this? Like, this is the exact opposite of what's really being told.
They're gaslighting
but it was
us.
out there.
They were gaslighting us, including Florio. And I'm just gonna say, when you do that to a journalist that has his kind of access and credentials and experience, you're gonna find out what a real journalist is. When a guy like Mike Florio can't reconcile something in his head, he puts his team on it. And this is what his team found out. I don't know if he scooped it or not. I just know that the first report I saw was on his network.
Yeah.
And I'm obviously everybody's been reporting it, but there's got to be some vindication for that man. Now, that all being said, I mean, I'm at a point in my life where, I've been politically active before I kind of put that down and decided to do something I know a little better and is a little more universal, like football and my Dolphins fans and communities. You know what I mean? But one of the things that that I'm going to come clean, you know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people in our community probably wouldn't like me very much if they heard a lot of my politics. So that's why I keep shut about it. Okay. But since this is going there, I just want to point out, and I'm going to be honest, I have been one of the most strongest people to rail against people using the race card. Let's just be honest with you. I think it's wrong. I think when people throw that out there flippantly, it causes a lot of damage to the people that they think they're trying to actually help. So that's my position on that. However, as we've always been told, and as we all know, when you see it, you'll know it. And I'm not trying to say that the Dolphins organization or any one individual or the Giants or anybody or any one individual is racist. This whole collusion to subvert the Rooney Rule and whatever else, because that's what we're looking at here, and that's what there's evidence of. Okay. And the point is that it's not so much that there's a bunch of racist people that don't. I mean, I get the statistics, but in this case, there's not a bunch of racist people that didn't want Brian Flores because he's a black man or a black Honduran. Let's be factual about it. It's more the spot where I see the actual racism is that they dehumanized this man when it wasn't necessary, and now we find out possibly to cover up a actual crime. And so it's not as if they were like, oh, don't hire this guy, he's black. It's more like, we need to smear this guy, and the types of devices they use to dehumanize him are eerily similar to the stuff we've seen in the 30s in the anti-drug war. That's the first thing I thought of. The fact that, for a second, they even had me convinced that this guy was flying off the handle in the building. And even if he was, with good reason. So this campaign that they've been on for the last 2 weeks to just utterly dehumanize this man was never even necessary. He's gone. You could have just said he was a bad coach, whatever. I'll disagree, but so for the people out there that are saying that this is a typical case of somebody pulling out the race card, read the lawsuit. You know what I mean? Read the lawsuit.
It's disingenuous to say that in this situation.
You're not going to tell me that you're not going to tell me that a guy that has half the team thanking him for changing their lives is all of a sudden some loose cannon. Let's be honest.
They made him out to seem like
I can't use the words because of my position politically, but you know what I'm talking about.
They made him out to seem like he was a crazy psychotic man in that building,
like an anti-cocaine ad from the 30s. If you know what I'm talking about, y'all can look it up yourself. I ain't gonna go that further because I don't want to get involved in all that, because I've been trying to save my calories on these issues over the last couple of years. So I'll stop right now, but I just wanted to put that out there because for the people that are doubling down, who will remain nameless, because I ain't got enough clout to go against them. I think we all know who we're talking about. And for those people that are doubling down on this, hey,
I would hope nobody's doubling down.
Well, they are. And at least I've seen some in the chats across a couple different channels.
Oh my gosh.
So for those that are doubling down on it, hey, it's y'all's own woke mob that's going to come after you. So go ahead and keep doing that nonsense. That's all I got to say.
I wouldn't. Oh my gosh. I hope I don't see nobody doubling down on this mess, man. Just to keep the same narrative because they were one of the ones delivering it. At the end of the day, nobody needs to be that prideful. You got bad information that was leaked from the organization probably, and you reported it. Nothing's wrong with that. You got played. A lot of us get played. But to double down, no, not in this situation. I ain't having it.
And the reason I'm so livid about it, TD, is because while I'm out there for the last decade telling people that it's all in their head, this kind of stuff comes out.
Yeah.
You know how embarrassing that is?
Yeah.
For somebody that actually cares about trying to enrich every community. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
get up your ball game.
I'm out here saying this is all in your head. And if you quit believing that nonsense and act, you would get better. And now here I am, me of all people. It's right in front of my eyes, people. It's not, this is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And if this wasn't such a big big entity, if Flores wins his lawsuit, the courts could literally award him ownership.
I mean, they could.
I mean, they wouldn't do it in this case because of all that's involved. But if it was like a house that he got, shafted out of.
It's a class action suit. So there are going to be some people that start piling on to this situation. And at the bottom of the lawsuit, they requested, they demanded a jury trial. Now,
and they haven't even named a monetary amount. They've said that this is about principle, and then they said that can be determined at trial.
And they're going to let the jury determine that amount. Let me tell you something. The NFL do not want this to go to trial. They could deny it all they want. I'm telling y'all, it's going to be hard for a jury in 2022 to not make a statement in today's climate. It's going to be real hard for that to happen. And you're in New York City. The lawsuit was filed in New York, by the way. Just so you know. It was filed in New York. Today. Still can't believe the NFL come out and say no merits. So you concluded your investigation in an hour and a half. You done interviewed and talked to everybody you need to talk to in Denver to make sure everybody's story lined up. Everybody in Miami, everybody in the Giants, Bill Belichick and company. You done talked to all of them and made sure all stories lined up, and you come out with no merits in an hour and a half? Really? NFL they done messed themselves up. And I can't wait to see Flo on TV in the morning because the media is about to ring the NFL tomorrow morning. They can't wait to ask all the tough questions and everything. They can't wait. And not to mention, that's all the Brian Flores stuff. That's all the inequality in the NFL. But what's being said, I can tell y'all now, the whole nation is on this story now. The federal government and the FBI is looking like, let's go ahead and put a team together. Look like we about to be investigating Stephen Ross.
Not to mention that Congress is about to get stirred up over it too because of
you're right.
The gambling issue.
The gambling. They might be having subpoenaing people to Congress to answer in the NFL. They may even
pass laws to outright ban the sports betting that we've been able to gain the last few years.
True, and this is why it can't be trusted unless they're going to put regulations in place where owners cannot own betting.
This is exactly what Congress's problem was with sports betting. This is why it's been illegal for all these decades.
But nobody thought about that. Like, is this not already like common sense for the NFL? You got an owner that spent $17.5 million investing in a sports betting startup. And then to add insult to injury, the same year you're being alleged of trying to pay your coach the tank. Oh my gosh. That, like, I'm telling you, bro, that alone, just saying that, a jury already ready to convict you. A jury is already ready to convict you. Just saying those words alone. I didn't hear one side or the other, but putting all that together, and I'm telling you, if this gets nasty, the FBI is going to say, Brian Flores, are you willing to testify? And at this point, I'm sure he is. And they get that testimony. What are they going to have? What are they going to have at that point? And I'm going to tell you, this whole situation is such a tight-knit group. What you going to have? Flores on the stand saying, yeah, it happened, and Greer saying it didn't? This is bad, man.
Hey, TD, man, I want to apologize, man. There was some stuff going on in the chat, bro. But we're sitting here talking about, like, racism and whatnot. But you got this guy FM in the chat, bro. I know he's a white dude because I've already heard about him on other platforms. He's in there talking about, do I know how to speak English? I speak perfectly well up here, bro. So if you got a problem, we live in the same town. Hey, man, catch me on Twitter. We can go to a gym. We can go to a gym. We ain't gotta get all, uncivil, but we can go to the gym and I'll handle you, buddy. So that's that. I don't hide behind the keyboard.
Boxing, right? Y'all can box, right?
Yeah. And you ain't gotta tell nobody you got whooped either, FM. You know what I mean? I'll save you of that. Anyways, look, man. For the most part, man, I think what bothers me about this whole situation is the whole community loses out. Like, we've been through a 3-year rebuild, and this could potentially derail the train for another 3 to 4 years.
And you think
we're going to lose out
along 2 lines? Now look
what
lines
we're going to lose out on. I'm already starting to see, on Twitter that Harbaugh is going to take the Vikings job tomorrow. So there goes a coach we could have potentially had. I'm sure that this had to do something with his decision if that happens. Free agents, it's going to affect our draft picks. I mean, guys that
makes you all think Javon Holland wants to work for an organization.
Yeah, guys that want to resign, and then when let's say Tua improves, he ain't going to want to come back because some of the details that are being revealed are about him, that they've been out on him since 2019. You know what I mean? And then when you look at him. Yeah, and then when Color's talking about the smear campaign, I mean, some of the reports that were coming out about Flo was that Flo was openly saying, I can't win with this kid, and I don't know, man. I guess he was getting physical with people. So, look, it's weird how...
Right. And I'm going to be honest with you right now, because I might be intellectual enough to put this out of my head and compartmentalize it and understand that it's nothing. But what do you think when they start talking about a guy getting physical with people? What kind of image do you think that immediately evokes in somebody like me's head? Like I said, I encourage people to go look at the anti-drug ads from the 1930s, because not everybody is able to understand those things like me. Okay, you've got people that look like me that's the first image in their head. And the Dolphins knew that's the image they were putting out there.
Yeah.
All to cover up what could possibly be an actual crime.
But see, here's the hypocrisy in all this. You have reports coming out that it was Flo that was out on Tua. And what came out today, since 2019, they've been trying to upgrade.
You break it up, Esteban.
It's like, okay. It's like, okay, we blame this. Can you?
Is it just me, or was Esteban breaking up for y'all?
He's breaking up pretty good.
Huh?
Can you hear me?
You're breaking up pretty bad.
Still?
Yeah, I guess.
Can I answer a question in chat real quick? The question is, and if the smears against Flo are true and they did happen, then what? Point I'm trying to make is none of those smears were even necessary to accomplish what they had accomplished. They already fired the man. What do we need to know about all that stuff for? And besides that, because he's no longer in the building, what about the guys that are still in the building? How much We act like everybody in that building is a saint.
Yeah.
You don't think there was other people that were acting a fool too?
There's definitely some man, can y'all hear me?
I'll put a name on it. You don't
Yeah,
think Tua said things he shouldn't have said?
Yeah, I can hear you too.
Or did things he shouldn't have did? We're all human. How are we going to sit there and prop up Tua because we don't know. We weren't in the room. And that's the advantage the Dolphins has putting out propaganda that they have for the last 2 weeks. We have to take it.
Man, Jordan Foote said this is worse than what happened to the Clippers. So I think we will see a change in ownership. You're right. In its totality, it definitely could be the worst. Miami Best, what you got on this? I ain't heard from you.
Yeah, so I was just trying to keep it calm and respectful, but my issue is just integrity within the organization now. I don't know what to think or believe anymore, and what our game plan is from here on forward, and honestly what our future looks like, because like Caller was saying, we were rebuilding for the last 3 years, and now it just seems like I don't know. It's going to be really, 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 really tough to make this an organization to play for. Like,
we'll be lucky if it stays in Miami.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because TD, didn't you say this a while ago about London, and we were entertaining London a little bit? Like, this kind of opens the door to that a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know what new owner is going to do.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves either. I'm just saying anything's possible.
It hurts my feelings to even.
Well,
think
and
about
getting
it.
a new head coach, that's going to be a problem too, right? Because even if you get a head coach this year, and you have a new owner, what's going to happen?
Now I have even a bigger problem with Mike McDaniels if he ends up being the head coach.
But even if he does, how long does he have? Because if you get a new owner, is that new owner going to want to keep McDaniels? Like, what's going to happen?
But McDaniels shouldn't even want to come to this situation at this point.
Well, that too, yeah.
And it'll if he does come to this situation, I feel like it'll further prove he's just trying to get a head coaching job.
Well, he's the first-time head coach. Who wouldn't?
But do you realize nobody else out there is coveting him? Do y'all realize in our search for a head coach, we interviewed 3 people that none of the other 8 teams interviewed? Y'all don't think something wrong with that? Every team interviewed like 10 people in the first go-around. And we interviewed 3 people that nobody else interviewed. That's an issue to me. And then our finalist is one of those people? Like, come on, man. David
real
was
quick,
first.
TD, I'm going to jump out because I feel myself I don't want to ruin the panel and all that. I feel myself getting really heated, so I'm going to go ahead and drop out. I just really appreciate what you're doing, bro. Keep speaking the truth, man, because that's the only thing that makes a person real. You know what I mean? And that's all you do. So everybody have a good night, and y'all catch me around somewhere later, I'm sure.
I'll see you next time, Color. And your IG, every time I hit it back up, it says an error. So hit me up so I can see if something wrong with it.
Roger that. Hey, that I sent you that text. You can hit me up directly. I kind of work easier that way anyway, if you want to.
Well, send it back to me, bro.
Sure thing, man.
All right, man. Hey, David, what you got on this, man?
So this is obviously very, very unfortunate, and it would be tough to forecast this to what it's come to be. That being said, it's been a disaster for years. Ross has been a little bit of a disaster. Yes, we have a nice facility. Yes, we have a nice practice facility, but really since he's taken over, nobody's really known who's in charge. There's always been these weird little power struggles. That's all silly and fun and games what we're compared to what we're talking about today. But I'm going to say this. I think Flores, there's validity there. I do believe what Flores, there's a couple of things that kind of bother me. Number one, yes, he was going to interviews, and would this have transpired if he had been offered a job, right? Mm-hmm. We can kind of say that's irrelevant, but you could see the tensions building. You could see Flores getting pissed off. I don't think he was abusive with players, but I think through the years, even though he's tough as nails and he's from Brownsville, I think it got under his skin. He was angry, frustrated, And I just honestly, it's a disaster. And I absolutely, if I were a betting man, I'm betting that Flores' story is a fax. I believe it's a disaster. I believe Ross is going to be asked to step down. We're going to lose draft picks. And it's just very, very unfortunate. But at the end of the day, Ross is out of touch and Ross has got to go. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And I don't know how you feel, TD, but there's no way that this is all BS. There's no way that Flores would just make this up. There's
See,
no way.
Me personally, I try to reserve myself from believing everything 100%.
Yeah.
So all we all have to go off of right now is gut, but gut can get you sick. All right.
Yeah.
Like my gut says 80% of it is correct, 20% I don't know. And here's why. Because again, anytime I'm not in a room into something, there's always still a little, just like they smeared him.
Yeah.
You know, it could be the reciprocal, but 80% of my gut is basically saying that this is correct. But a lot of my gut is based off of reports that I already knew to be true that I just wasn't reporting, or that I would report, but in a slick way without giving details, because people telling me stuff, telling me not to say anything, but so that I would at least be on the right path with my discussions. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
I see what you're saying. And I think there was a power struggle, and I think there was a tank for Tua initiative, and I think Flores wasn't having it. I mean,
no. It wasn't. It was never. See, this is the deal, bro. It was never a tank for Tua. That was a media narrative and fan narrative because they love Tua. Because if it was tank for Tua, then why would they try to trade all those first-round picks for Burrow? It was tank, but it was tank for Burrow. We just were saying the wrong name.
Okay, let's remove the Tua, but it was definitely a tank scenario, right?
Yes, it was. Now,
to ask a dude or any coach with integrity to do that, that's just the wrong foot to step out on. And from day one, it's been a disaster. Period.
Now, here's where I question Flores, and this is where I hold back a little bit on that 20%. I question Flores because I am so curious. Did you take a little and then say screw this because you felt you couldn't do it anymore? Or did it just happen when you start trying to win games? I would like to know that.
If he did, he's incriminating himself. He's a part of that.
Yeah.
He'll go down too. But I think we all can attest that, what he did today was, it's a sacrificial lamb, man. It's over. His career's done.
Big time. Yeah. Well, I don't know because sometimes they try to give you a job. Remember, he still got an interview with the Saints Thursday.
Yeah, but how does that work? If you're suing an organization, typically you're not going to be picked up at the same time by that entity.
That would be added to this case. That would be added to the case.
Can I add something real quick before I get out of here? Because I want other people to come on. But real quick, what happens to the season ticket holders from 2019? It's one thing for the fans.
Let me say this.
It's one thing for the fans to. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was going to answer your question, but you didn't finish. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I just want to clarify because it's one thing for us to all know that we were tanking in 2019 and get season tickets for it, but it's another to pay a head coach or try to pay a head coach to lose.
Did you buy season tickets? Did you buy season tickets?
My father did, so I'm kind of.
Is your father upset about it?
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Well, tell your father to contact Brian Flores' lawyer and see if he can get his name on that class action suit. It's that simple.
Nah.
I'm just saying.
He's too loyal.
What I'm saying in general, you contact that lawyer and see if you got a case on it.
Gotcha.
That's how that works. Okay. That's why they entered this as a class action. See, that element hasn't even come into it yet. The element of the fan base. The Miami Dolphin fans that brought season tickets, you got a case. You came to watch the best product of your team, but to find out they were intentionally losing, you came for the best experience possible, and they intended to not give you that. They defrauded you. You have a right to get on that if they would open that lawsuit up to add that as well. But again, that's all legal conjecture. You just have to see if you would have to start your own case, because that is a valid point for season ticket holders and people who invest to come see, hoping that their team wins to get the maximum experience, but to know that you're intentionally not providing the best product for your customer intentionally, that could be a case in itself. All right. But appreciate you coming through, bro.
Thank you, TD. I appreciate the platform. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Rudy Ramos said all of this was going on when they were celebrating Don Shula legacy. You ain't never lied. Steve, what you got on this, man?
Hey, TD. As an attorney who has practiced in New York federal courts for a few years, I can add
Talk to me.
Things. First, with regard to the complaint and the allegations concerning racial hiring practices, there are a couple of things here. Let's first take Flores out of this. I echo people who say, look, you don't want to throw around an allegation of race, because if it starts to become frivolous over time, you can start to undermine those serious claims. But at the same time, even if you're most ardent about that argument, you still have to look at the facts that are staring you blue in the face. You see the last 16 hirings, and you see the one singular hiring, an African-American coach goes to Houston, does an admirable job. You can question some of his calls, but 4 wins with that roster is an admirable job. And he beat some teams he had no business beating. That was clearly a fall guy job. You look at the two sides of the scale. You have Dan Campbell, you have Staley, you have Hackett now getting a job. You have coaches out there, proven winners like Caldwell. You have Bowles, you have Leftwich, you have Leslie Frazier. You have coaches with 10 times better resumes in some cases, with more experience in winning, and they're not getting hired. I understand there are population differences, but at the same time, 1 in 16, and the one is a 1-year fall job. There is obviously a problem, and instead of rolling your eyes to people who are putting forth the allegations, roll your eyes toward the owners, because if the owners actually were fair and looked at people based on their merits, we wouldn't even be talking about this, because it's clear they're not picking people based on the merits. The numbers say so and the resumes say so. But as to the Flores allegations, look, a complaint doesn't have to offer any evidence in it. The complaint is only allegations. Allegations such as this against such a powerful entity rarely go to trial. There will likely be a motion to dismiss in response to the motion to dismiss, there'll have to be some evidence shown. If you can get past that, then there'll be discovery. If there's anything found in discovery, then the billionaires will settle it and give whatever the party wants. The question is, will this be a class action suit? If you have more people joining in, then that's where it can explode. That's where you can really get the explosive items and stuff, and lots of press and lots of open motions and hearings. So we'll see where this goes. Some of Flores's allegations as to the hiring practices might not hold a lot of water, because, like, for example, with the Giants, they had already satisfied the Rooney Rule before they were going to interview him, because they had interviewed both Leslie Frazier, I think twice, and somebody within their organization who was African-American. But also, even with the texts, sometimes an employer could have somebody in mind that they boast about, but they can go out on interviews just to see if anybody blows them away. So more will have to be presented to take this further, I guess is what I'm saying in a long-winded way. As to the Dolphins, though, and as to self-incrimination point that was brought up previously, Flores, if he were to say, yes, I was paid, and then I turned down the money after a while, I would bet my house that he would get immunity for any testimony that he would offer against a huge fish like an owner of the Dolphins organization. If they decided to pursue any kind of criminal investigation. and they looked into that, I don't think he'd have to worry too much about incriminating testimony, because he'd surely be a key piece of evidence as to any such investigation. And that's really, with regard to Flores's own case, that's really the explosive claim that will be looked at. Not so much the tampering, that'll be swept under the rug, but with the gambling implications and the throwing of and the pressure to throw games with money being involved outside of the regular contract, that I think is something to pay attention to. Sorry for
and do you think the federal the FBI will get involved in that?
The FBI is likely conducting interviews to see if there is any there. They're going to be really tight-lipped unless they have something. If the FBI loves this kind of press, any government body and any DA looking for a bigger job would. So believe me, that they are already interviewing people. If they have a crime that they believe has been violated, with regard to any kind of gambling or any kind of throwing of games, they are interviewing people. If you don't hear from them, that probably means that they really couldn't find anything there that they think could stick.
Yeah, but they're just getting this information coming out that offering Flores money and all that stuff is just coming out. So
right.
I mean,
they're probably conducting interviews, and they've already reached out to people.
Why? So you think, okay, Brian Flores drops this information off today, and they are already interviewing people today?
No, they will reach out to people to try and set up interviews.
Okay.
Probably reached out to counsel for Brian Flores already. They're going to want to know. They're going to want to interview him. They're going to want to know if he contemporaneously with those events told anybody, and then they can interview that person to judge the veracity between the claims by interviewing people separately. They've started the process. I didn't mean that they've already interviewed 10 people, but they are starting to reach out to people, and they would look into it to see if there is a crime, because they would love nothing more than to have such a public investigation. It's good politics.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is going to come down to what you said earlier, if this is going to be a class action, because they've already a reporter reported that they already have 2 people that they've spoke to that feel like they have evidence that can add themselves to this class action suit. So the more people that starts to pile on, the more damning it could be, and a judge is more likely to not dismiss it.
So not to take away more time from people, but just to quickly say, if that's the case and they have something to offer, then I think it's highly likely that what the NFL will do is offer some really big settlement, maybe a change in the rules plus monetary compensation. They'll offer the sun and the moon. The last thing they want are for these kinds of charges to go before
to trial. Yeah. And not in New York.
It's not going to go to a jury. They're going to offer the sun.
And they can probably get whatever they want, and the NFL got the money for it at the end of the day. And that's the sad part about it. That's the only thing that, as a spectator, that sometimes you don't like to see, because when you talk about injustices or things of that nature, and it can be proven, sometimes it sucks for the public to see a settlement, because they never really are being held accountable for their actions outside of from a monetary standpoint. But a lot of people, from a public perspective, they don't want monetary justice to happen. They want all the details and exposure to be out to make real change.
That's why, outside of the money, they're going to probably have to make some real rule changes with sharper teeth than the Rooney Rule. That's the one thing that you can show the public of an effectuation of real change. I think if they offer something big enough that'll move the needle in the eyes of the plaintiffs in the class, then that might be a way to resolve this.
Yeah, and I'm talking in regards to the public, even though they don't owe the public anything in this case. They owe the accusers everything if it comes down to that. So what you're saying is in regards to those who are filing the suit, which is correct. But I'm talking about the public here, you know, what they want to see happen. They're not gonna get the impact they want. I mean, the public is gonna want exactly what Kenny Stills tweeted. It'll never change unless you have equality in ownership, you know, minority ownership. The public, when we say a rule change, how about make a rule where the next 3 openings, a minority has an opportunity to actually buy it, you know, because you'll start to have more equality when you have more people in charge that look like the majority of the people that work for you. And that's just how it works sometimes.
I mean, when a team goes up for sale, you do have bids that are allowed from anybody, but minorities occupy only like 7 of the billionaires out of 100.
But that's
hard.
But when it comes to NFL ownership, that's typically not how it works, just like it was with the NBA ownership. Usually partners and groups get together to own teams now. So it doesn't matter with 7 billionaires. You don't have to be a billionaire. I mean, it's tons of 500 million people. I mean, people that got 500 million. It's tons of those. It's tons of people that got 100, 200, 300, 400 million of minorities. Tons of those. But the billionaire, I get 7 of them, whatever. But everybody knows Stephen Ross ain't even 100% owner. Even the Dolphins is a majority. He just has majority share. You got all of those sub owners. It's over 20, if I'm not mistaken. That has a percentage in the Miami Dolphins. So it's about getting a minority group to be allowed to put their money together and have a majority owner at the end of the day and have that equality, man, because a lot of people have this perception and they still aren't able to prove it, but a lot of people feel like this is factual, that it's a club that they're not trying to let certain people into. And that's where the public perception, at least from a racial standpoint, at least, you know what I'm saying? That perception comes across and people want to see that type of change, man. They want to see that type of change. And trust me when I tell you, and it's already been spoken out about, I can tell you now, you put the team up for sale, Jay-Z and Beyonce will put up every penny they got to try to own the team. They'll put up every penny. It ain't like minorities aren't trying. You saw what Magic Johnson tried to do with the Clippers. He got together with a few other billionaires. They tried to put all their money together, still didn't consider him. So that's the type of stuff that I believe may need to happen. Just a little bit of equality on every level. Because, again, we know the majority of your clients, you know, they're of one specific race. So I guess it's a tough situation. I appreciate this legal expertise that you're providing with us. I got to ask you another question about this. As far as and this is from a well, let me ask your opinion. Does this matter where when Flores got fired, everywhere in the NFL, even general managers around the NFL, all news outlets, who was the number 1 candidate for any coaching job?
Flores. Everybody was raving about him and were dumbfounded by what the Dolphins did.
And he still has an interview Thursday with the Saints, okay? Does it not matter that if he doesn't get hired? Could there even be at this point, since he came out, I don't want to use the word retaliation, but disdain for, like, unattractive right now? Is that legal to let somebody that becomes unattractive to make a decision based off of that? Because another thing that also could have hurt him, I think part of his claim, did you read the whole lawsuit?
I read about 52 out of 58 pages.
Okay. So you probably definitely read the part where the slandering campaign. How that could also affect his ability to get a job as well. Does any of that matter?
So not it really won't matter that much because it's the perception is there, but the proof isn't. You're not going to have any team admit that I'm retaliating. Yeah, I thought he was a good coach, but I also think he's a good coach, and I'm retaliating against this guy. I just don't like him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the media was raving about him, but then when I interviewed people who had dealt with him, he just wasn't easy to deal with. I don't like how he developed his quarterback. You can make up a million things. It becomes a really difficult point to prove.
So does this part become difficult? I mean, is it really difficult to prove whether or not you are a difficult person to deal with? And let me preface that by saying this. All the reports out was basically, in my opinion, defaming him, right? They said that, he was having issues with his coaching staff and all type of stuff. But the report came out that the Giants actually called many of his employees and coordinators in Miami and nothing but A+ reviews and raves about him. So is this something where they would care to get down to the origin of where these potential defaming things came from?
Well, two things. One, if that is your reasoning, it doesn't even have to be true. You could just say, I read some articles or saw some YouTube videos, and that's what I just thought that there was some turmoil, but that was just an example. They probably wouldn't even say that. They would probably say his accomplishments are well noted. We just decided that somebody else was a better fit for our organization. They wouldn't even let it. They're not going to put out an allegation that they're going to have to sweat too much to prove. They're going to put out something out there that isn't provable, that is logical, and is a basis for hiring someone else. Oh, we hired guy X because we like the West Coast system and we think that he would be a good fit with X player. You can make up a million reasons and wouldn't have to prove any of them, as long as there is a basis.
Yeah. So as long as they have that basis, it doesn't matter if they did them wrong because it makes it harder to prove it. Now, but will he still have a defamation case against the Miami Dolphins?
A defamation case, it's an extremely hard and high bar to make, especially the more public you are, because you are a public figure and you're being covered publicly. It's extremely hard. You have to prove various states. You have to prove malice. You have to prove intent. It's hard to prove. It's not impossible, but you need a good deal of evidence to prove that. He would need people testifying on his behalf.
Exactly. So like beat reporters who are reporting this information from an inside source high up in the organization. That type of stuff, can it be subpoenaed to be able to talk to these people or get records?
I mean, you can subpoena. You can subpoenas can be challenged. In my experience, it's extremely rare for you to get anywhere in a defamation suit without something concrete. If you have records and you can produce them, great. Let's see if a question will be is, can he get to the discovery stage? He will need something in order to get past a motion to dismiss. He needs something to bring his allegations forward.
Yeah, and I just feel like there's so many things that could potentially be that, and we could keep going down the line. We could even talk about the owner trying to get him to do something illegal. And when we say prove it, the owner meeting, what about, and this is probably going to be the biggest one because it's going to come down to this one person, what they say. The owner setting up a lunch meeting on his yacht, saying that a player who is still under contract or whatever it may be is on their way and we want you to recruit him. is that not enough if that person says, yes, I was coming to meet that day? Because that's still illegal. You're not supposed to do that.
I mean, that would be enough to violate the NFL's tampering rules, but
also the employment rules, having an employee do something out of bad judgment that's not that you can't do, pretty much.
I mean, he could. Okay, this happened what, 2 years ago?
Uh-huh.
So as a result of, if his story is right and he walked away, okay, as a result of that, he wasn't fired. You didn't see anything public anyway, as far as a reprimand or anything. The owner wanted to put him in a situation that he wasn't comfortable with, and he immediately walked out. And I mean, is he going to be able to show by being fired now in 2000 and at the end of 2021 that had any correlation to what happened on that yacht?
Yeah, absolutely. That's correlation enough. Because isn't that for a judge to decide whether or not it's correlation?
I mean,
so whether it's dismissed or not, that's still, at the end of the day, that's up to the judge to decide if that can be a predetermining basis of what they did as a result.
The bar for the judge early on is low, so that might be, if that can be substantiated at all, i.e., let's say they interview, let's say if it was Brady, they interview Brady so that there's some substantiation of that claim, then that might be enough to bring that forward for more investigation. Sure,
but once you have
in front of a jury to get something, no, you would need a little more than that.
Yeah, but once you have the investigation, at the end of the day, that's pretty much the end of it. That's the information that you would pretty much need, is the fact that he was trying to have his employee do something that was against company policy.
Oh, sure.
At the end of the day. And then also just bringing in the fact of what's at stake. Because I know it's still going to be a he say, she say with the Chris Greer situation, even when he said about the tanking. Because here's the deal. I think if Brady says yes, which could easily be proven or denied by Brady, so we should be waiting on that in the next few days, right? Hopefully, right?
Yeah.
It's just a culmination of all these things that, to me, like you say, the judge's bar is low, that is going to be sufficient enough to move forward.
So he might be able to move forward on that, but the judge could always say, okay, you can move forward on X, but I'm going to dismiss causes of action for Y and Z. So you might be able to move forward with a part of your case, but not move forward with another part of your case.
Yeah, and I think that part of the case, whenever it comes to, that's going to actually, I feel like, wipe out some of the class action, because people got to speak for themselves. That's why I'm confused about the class action part. I know you said it'll be difficult for the NFL if more people start attacking on, because it's different allegations and different discovery, right?
Yeah, and it's also different allegations. The NFL does not want racism and racial practices in hiring to be in the national spotlight. They're more afraid of that than any tampering charge or gambling by a singular owner.
So what do you say ends up happening at the end of all of this?
I think at the end of all of this, there will be a settlement, part of which will be confidential, part of
which I hate.
Public. There will, as part of the settlement, there will not be an admission of guilt by any party, but look for some very public rule changes. I know it probably doesn't fix what you mentioned about ownership. I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. The richer the party, the more likely this will never see the light of day in front of a jury.
And I'm not even worried about jury, because I know that they're not going to let it get there. If the judge allows any level of discovery, they're going to swipe this under, because the shield is too big to deal with this on a national level, especially in today's climate. I just don't like you said it, and you're right. You're 1,000% correct. And I just hate it that whatever ends up coming of it, it will be sealed. It will be confidential. You won't know what the outcome was. There will be people getting paid, but you still won't know the outcome. And that's something that I didn't really like, even with the Kaepernick situation. Like when they offered, as long as there was a non-disclosure agreement and all of that, the people that get behind certain people in movements like this, I feel like they deserve to know what the outcome was and all the details. But it's always brushed under the table. And the money is taken, which at the end of the day, you got to take the money. It is what it is. I just hate it because they need to pay. It needs to be a chronological record of everything that has happened over time, but money can buy the secrecy or the fact that it didn't stick. I'll put it like that. It didn't stick as a sore on the shield. So at the end of the day, I agree with you. The end result is going to be something that doesn't stick on the shield long term, and maybe a few rules will be changed. But again, this does expose, though, that the Rooney Rule is a joke. It's a joke regardless. It's just to meet a requirement. I mean, people aren't interviewing and scoring people to see who come up with the highest composite score that may be best to do the job. I've been telling y'all this for the longest. The NFL is about relationships, man. When you know who you want them, you go get them. And when you got your guy, you go get your guy. And they're going to always play it like this. Any last thoughts you got on this, Steve?
Well, all I can say is in the best case scenario, if what I said is true and a lot of it gets swept under the rug, the hope is the money goes to do the maximum amount of good possible, and the rule changes really affect positive change. At least if you have positive change while protecting certain people, it's not all lost, maybe glass half full.
Where the money gonna go? I mean, this is part of the problem. The money gonna go to the people who complaining about it, and that's gonna be the end of it. They're not gonna put a fund or something together to create equality and hiring in the NFL. They'll always be able to hide behind this issue because it always comes behind an opinion. Who I thought was the better candidate, even if they weren't. It'll be almost impossible to fix this issue. The only way you fix this issue is diverse ownership. At the end of the day, you have that and black coaches aren't getting hired. Hey, you ain't got no complaining to do. Even black owners won't hire you. It is what it is at that point. I mean, that's just the way it works, man. I just feel like this ain't going to make no positive change. Just going to be a few people getting paid, and then we back to the same old NFL.
Thank you, TD. I appreciate the time.
No, thank you, Steven, man. That was very insightful and factual, and I appreciate that, bro.
Anytime. Take care. Bye.
All right. Drubitron, what you got, man?
Hey, how's it going, TD?
I'm great, man. Talk to me.
Hey, what a great host there. A guest there. Some really, really good nuggets. Man, what a sad day. Hey, remember when we used to talk about Tua and we used to just fight about Tua all day? Those were the good old days. It's rough out here. No, but
hey, Drubitron.
Yeah.
This is all still Tua's fault, bro.
Yeah, thank you. Let's just talk about Tua.
This is all still his fault, man.
Let's just talk. Let's get off the topic. No, but man, there's I liked one of the big takeaways I took from Steve, and it's a lot. I've been on Twitter all evening, mostly trolling, but just trying to kind of piece things together. And you have the. I don't want to get political or anything, but you have the. If we remember, the anti-Kaepernick crowd is now starting to pop up again, and there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of speculation going around, and it's just it's so weird. One of the big things that I think the big key takeaways that he said, and it's one of the big things that's kind of being debated back and forth on Twitter right now is, well, if Flores took money, would he not be implicating himself, right, by bringing this out? And I think Steve mentioned at one point that if Flores did come forward and provide information, that there'd be some type of potentially immunity provided or something. So I think that's one important thing to kind of maybe add a little bit of validity to that accusation that Flores made, that this offer of 100K per loss, because a lot of people are trying to discredit that claim by saying, well, it's never going to come to fruition because there's not going to be any money trail, and Flo never probably got any money anyway. So, but I that gives me a little bit of hope that maybe they can nail down Ross here on that point. Because I'll be frank, I saw it on Twitter today. Somebody wrote a really great tweet. They said, from Stephen Ross inherited one of the greatest franchise, not in the NFL, but in sports. And he's taken it and he's, given it more black eyes than playoff wins since he's gotten here. And I mean, poetry's never been spoken better. That is the legacy that Stephen Ross is going to leave behind on this franchise. And I think the sooner we get rid of him, the sooner that this team is going to finally be able to move on from this massive black eyes that he's given us over and over again. I think that's going to be what happens. I don't know that Stephen Ross is going to be able to do. You could see by some of the things, if these allegations are true, how desperate he's been the last few years just to win, because he's been so bad since taking over the team. He's obviously desperate to the point that he's willing to, break league rules by trying to get Brady on a yacht with Flo. This is such a Dolphins thing. It's just so bad. But I appreciate you having me on, and I don't want to take up time because I know there's probably a lot of other people that want to come on. But yeah, man, I hope that some good comes out of this. I hope that some of these rules can change, because it's really obvious with the demographics of ownership, the demographics of these coaches.
What rule? I'm trying to hear from somebody when they say they need to change rules. Explain. Explain.
To be honest,
give me a vision of what anybody's talking about when they say that.
Sure. There's kind of an interesting scenario, and it's brought up, and it's kind of like a different topic, but it's brought up a lot when we talk about like minimum wage, right? They've done studies on minimum wage that shows countries that actually don't have minimum wages typically tend to have actually higher minimum wage jobs, meaning like the companies just choose to pay their employees more. I don't know the validity of those studies, but there are some people that are suggesting that if we just don't have these rules in, and we just continue to build up through coaching camps, through different avenues, building up these young coaches, former players, that inevitably it'll fix itself. Unfortunately, we've tried to go the hammer route by just hammering it in, and it's obviously, we're seeing it now, it's causing more harm than good.
So we create coaching camps, which should be available for Caucasian, African American, every race.
Sure, and inevitably, because you look at the demographics, of the NFL.
Yeah.
What are the majority of players in the NFL?
African American.
Naturally, if you're building up easily, you can take players that are in the league now. If you continue to focus on that demographic, you're going to naturally have a higher percentage of players becoming coaches and moving up. That's going to happen naturally, because you have a higher pool. The pool is built that way, and it should be, right. Players should theoretically be the best suited to be future coaches, and we're starting to see that. You see Byron Leftwich, we see the Harbaughs, like all these former players that come out and they coach, and they're typically pretty good. If we continue to invest in those avenues, I think the problem will begin to fix itself without creating rules like like this, like the
Okay.
Rooney Rule, that just try to fix it with a sledgehammer instead of naturally and organically going to what makes the most sense, which would be, build from within. Give these players an
So
opportunity to coach.
I have to show you where, and I get, and I think you're genuine, and I like your suggestion, but they've already proven that won't work. And let me break that down for you.
Okay.
They're already showing you when you have 16, because you're basically basing it off the numbers. If we can just get more players to become coaches, we already got a lot of minority coaches. That's low level though. What I'm trying to say to you is this: African Americans don't get the opportunity. So when you say 70% of players are African American and 30% are other, right? We can put all 100% in coaching camps. And since you have 70% of the people in coaching camps, theoretically, you should get more African American coaches to come out of it, right?
Theoretically, yeah.
But they're still picking the Caucasians. They're still picking at an overwhelming rate out of the 30%.
Yeah.
Because the 30%, because here's the deal. Say you get 100 coaches that come to camp, 70 are African American and 30 are of other or Caucasian, right? And they only need 5 jobs to fill. The sad truth of it, all 5 of them may be non-African American. It still doesn't work. And here's proof. Here's proof. There's still African American representation applying for these jobs, right?
Yeah.
16 open head coaching jobs in the last 2 years. 16. Okay? That is, one of them was an African American, and we all know why he got the job. He didn't even really get the job. Let's just say nobody got it. Not a single one. There's proof that we already have representation in the lower levels of coaching. So why does out of 16, 0 get a job? That's why this whole thing of create, coaching clinics, have more players become coach. It don't matter. It don't matter because you still got a pool of others that you're going to pull out of first. And the real thing is we got to start talking about why is that. Let's start we got to stop going straight to a maybe solution and address why is that first so that we can understand how to make an effective solution. And that's part of the issue. Why is it that none of them, because I don't count that freaking one in Houston. That's just that's an extra slap in the face. That's a cherry on top.
No, we're not going to go there.
So 16, bro, come on, man. It's getting worse.
Yeah.
Rooney Rule
It's
put
laughable.
in place, and this stuff is getting worse, man.
Yeah.
Something has to be done, but I agree with Kenny Stills. It won't change until you have minority ownership.
Yeah.
Because minority ownership isn't going to let that happen.
Yeah. That's the but I don't even know if that's really true either, because I mean, for example, somebody I was in Stephen D's show a little while ago. I was watching the show. He had I forget his name. Anyway, he had 2 guys on, and they were talking about some of the. Unfortunately, with Brian Flores, there's a little bit of hypocrisy that comes with this, and it's unfortunate because they were talking about potentially that they got the right message, but maybe the wrong messenger, because they went back and looked at some of Brian Flores's coaching hires, and the majority of his assistant coaches, the majority of the Dolphins coaching staff, outside of the GM, head coach, right, the majority were white. And they were saying, Brian Flores is trying to push this message, but he didn't even go out of his way to try to give more opportunities to minority coaches. So I don't even know, because we had an example right there of a minority coach, head coach, who had the opportunity to place more minority coaches in those positions and didn't. So like to your point, I don't know what's going to really fix it. We can do some things, right? We can always theorize and think about what's going to work best. And I think that's until again we can get some, like you're saying, minority owners, hopefully that would make better decisions.
No.
I don't know what solutions are
Here's the
that
solution.
actually work.
Here's the solution. Well, let me read this comment, then I'm gonna tell you the solution. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm gonna break it down for you. Selvy Mitchell said, TD, I'm having second thoughts of staying a fan of this team, man. I'm following the big Dolphin group on Facebook, man. The level of disrespect and racism I see about Flores and people of color, it's heartbreaking. Well, Selvy Michelle, hopefully I didn't mess it up. Let me say this to you, okay? You're a Dolphins fan. You probably were a Dolphins fan before Stephen Ross was an owner. Unfortunately, our owner represents the team, but you're a Dolphins fan. I want to encourage all Dolphins fans. There is nothing wrong with being a Dolphins fan, because I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm the type of person, it'll be easy to say, screw the NFL, screw the Dolphins, I'm boycotting this. But there's a part of me that wants to see it through, because at some point, if everybody give up, you'll never have any level of equality. I'm the type of person that's going to stick around for the fight. And if I'm ever called upon, I'm ready. I'm ready to put my fist up. So you're a Dolphins fan, and that group on Facebook, once you recognize that's the level of people that are participating in that group, it's just your sign to leave. And I'm gonna shamelessly plug myself. Just hang out over here. You ain't gonna get that over here. And there's some other people too you're not gonna get that from in the community. There's too many groups in this community for us to be a reflection of one group on Facebook. And I know that it ain't just one group on Facebook. You got Facebook groups, you got YouTube, you got other things. It's all out here. But just find your home. Find your home and stay there. And enjoy fair, non-biased commentary. Commentary that's going to respect people regardless of race, color, creed, religion, orientation, anything. That's what you look for, man. But we're Dolphin fans, and just like any family, they have drama, things that are embarrassing. But at the end of the day, this doesn't make me just say screw the team. Screw Stephen Ross, maybe. And I'm still not 100% on that, because I need to see the finality of all of this. But right now, I'm not liking him whatsoever. And I'm still reserved on Greer. I'm still waiting to see how he act in all of this. But it's that simple, bro. Don't let them take away your fanhood. Right now, it's just bad representation. But if things go the way they need to go, that'll change eventually. All right, that's the way I'll look at it. And
TD, I can add to that really quick too. This is going to become in the coming days. Today we're all kind of reacting, and it's just the shock and awe, right? Yeah. In the coming days, this is going to become very politicized.
Oh yeah.
This isn't. I mean, Flores is already going to be on like Good Morning America or something tomorrow. This is going to get very political very quickly. So I will say, there's already, I've already seen it in the last 3 hours, ramping up of trolls. These are not real fans of football. These are just trolls who like to stir the pot. And not only trolls, they're also bots, right? Like we always joke about, the political bots. It's a real thing. There's foreign countries that want to increase the amount of infighting in the United States, right? So these other countries, they send bots and they stir up trouble. These aren't real fans. You got to be able to recognize them.
I will say that. Thank you for saying that, Drubbatron, because there are campaigns that are dividing our country. There is real division in this country. There are people that believe one thing and people that believe another, and they clash. But there are other entities, foreign enemies, I'll put it like that, that are infiltrating our internets to find division and stir the pot and be hateful just to keep it going back and forth and rile people up to have even more division. So remember that as well. But I'm
going to be a big catalyst for that.
I'm going to come to you, Dolphin fan Zay, but Drobotron, let me tell you how you fix this. You allow the next three team availabilities to be purchased by minorities, right? And when you let those 3 be purchased by minorities, you may not know this, Drobotron, but I do, being an African American. If black people own them 3 teams, black people go support them 3 teams. They're going to get the highest revenue in the NFL. They're going to get everything they need. They're going to get the best players. They're going to win Super Bowls. And they're going to win them year after year after year after freaking year like a freaking monopoly. And then and only then will people see what the other side's been talking about all this time. That's what's going to have to happen. Because I guarantee you, you give 3 minority owners, one of them 3 going to win the Super Bowl every freaking year. And I ain't talking about because they African American, but the majority of the league, 70% is African American. So who you think most of the best players are? African American, and they going to ride for the culture. They're going to ride for the culture, and they're going to monopolize the NFL and win every year. And when people of other race start pulling the race card and saying, well, it's unfair because all the best players as African Americans are just loading up on one team, taking pay cuts, then and only then they'll know what people are talking about. That's what people are complaining about now, but they don't see it. But it needs to happen to them for them to recognize the inequality in it. They'll recognize how unfair it is that the best players go over there just because of race every year. And it's the same thing with ownership. That's what's going to end up happening. Trust me, it'll work exactly like that, like clockwork. Clockwork. And then people will see that there needs to be equality. Only when you're unfair to other people do they see how equality works. Inequality, excuse me. That's what needs to happen. And I promise you, it will go down just like that. You can say whatever you want. Well, other teams would still, the best of the best going to be on them 3 teams. I promise you, the best of the best. Somebody said earlier, when you got a salary cap, they going to take pay cuts and all for the culture. Because we going to buy every little advertisement they got just to make sure they make their money up on the back end. That's how
they had a salary cap in Tampa Bay too. Yeah, had no problem on that roster.
That's how you fix it, man. But I appreciate you coming through, Drobotron. I want to make sure I get some more people in. All right.
Yep. Have a good night, bud.
All right, appreciate you, man. Dolphins, talk to me, man. I see everybody else backstage. Damien, I see you. Ron, I see you, man. I'm gonna get to you. And Angelo, Raymond, I see you, man. I'm just going a few at a time. So talk to me, Dolphins,
All right, what's up, TD?
All
right, man. So I'm gonna start off by saying I 100% support B-Flow on the Giants, Broncos front and whatnot, and what we need to do there. But I'm gonna try to play devil's advocate here a little bit and defend the Dolphins a little bit here. All right, just to give a different perspective. All right, so I'm gonna try to hit all 3 bullet points. Now, as a Dolphins fan, and I'm glad you had the lawyer on so he could talk about the legal stuff. So I ain't gonna get into all that because I don't know none of that stuff. I'm gonna talk from an ignorant Dolphins fan perspective.
Mm-hmm.
As a Dolphins fan, we all want that guy.
Okay.
And 2 of the bullet points show that Ross has been doing what he's been trying to so hard to do to get us that guy. Everyone's mad at Tua, but it's showing Ross tried to get us Burrow and or Tom Brady. So I'm trying to figure out why are the Tua haters so mad that Ross was out here trying to do that? Like it's kind of conflicting a little bit to me about how people's jumping on his head, but this is evidence showing he's trying to get us our guy. Now, hold on. Now, as far as now, I'm not going to defend the $100,000 and the record and all that stuff, but tampering, man, everybody in NFL tampers, man. But before the legal period, the first day of the legal tampering period, you hear about these mega contracts. Y'all think they just magically came up with those numbers? The numbers didn't come out of nowhere. So I mean, a meeting on the yacht, man. Look, as an ignorant Dolphin fan, man, I don't really care about that. I'm being honest. I don't really care.
So let me break that down, all right? And I'm glad that you prefaced it as an ignorant Dolphin fan. But listen, bro, let's put things in a perspective here. Let's just break things down And I actually appreciate you looking at this just as a fan. Screw all the politics of it, right? But let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about the tampering. Everybody does it, right? But everybody also has a choice to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Ross wants to tamper, right, he should do it. But this is different. He tried to get somebody else to.
But hold on now. Okay, I agree with you there. Now, my rebuttal to that is if Flores complied with one of the two requests, the tanking or the tampering, will we not have a quarterback and will he not have a job?
We're going to handle the other piece, but let's stick with the tampering first.
Okay.
Whose choice is it to comply with that?
All parties involved. Each party has their own choice.
No. Okay, Flores has a choice.
Yeah, he has a choice.
Now, I want you to think about the choice he had. Break the NFL rules or do the right thing. That's what it comes down to, bro.
Correct.
If Ross, hold on. If Ross wants to tamper, he can go tamper and take that risk on his own dime. But we're talking about a minority coach who also saw what New England went through. You're basically saying he should have did it anyway. He should have broke his morals.
If he did it, he still have his job.
It doesn't matter. See, hold on. You stand for something or fall for anything. If you're a person of high morals and character and integrity, what's wrong with you exercising that? I mean, we're gonna demonize somebody for being a good person.
No. I'm not demonizing him for it. What I'm saying is, I'm just saying.
But we're gonna justify his losing of his job because he didn't want to cross his moral line.
No, so that's the other point in the whole smear campaign we'll get to. But in terms of I was just talking about in terms of tampering.
And I'm just asking. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from.
No, yeah. No, we're having a conversation. We good, But I'm just saying, if he would have complied with one of the two, regardless of how he felt it or not, all this would have been avoided.
Yeah, but he didn't want to comply. He has that right. He don't want to avoid it. He wants to uphold his morals and character. Let me ask you something. You love your mama?
Yeah, I love my mama.
Would you slap your mama?
No.
Stephen Ross wants you to slap your mama.
What's the reason?
It don't matter. Go slap her if you would just comply. I'm just saying. I know I'm being extreme, bro. But
I get where you're coming from. I mean, I get where you're coming from.
This ain't no case that he should have just did it.
Bro, we would have had Burrow. We would have TD. We would have Burrow, and you wouldn't be able to complain every day.
Screw that. Some people, you know what? I'm glad you said that. We would be so excited about having Burrow, but what's gonna happen if it gets out? What happened? What's gonna happen?
Does he still have a job?
No. Don't do that to you. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself.
Okay, hold on. No, let's follow the timeline.
I'll do you one better.
All right, go ahead.
I'll do you one better. How you know Tom Brady wasn't setting them up?
He could have been, but he's like a world-class cheater. So I mean, I don't he does a lot of scandalous stuff.
It just wasn't.
He got done with everybody in the league.
It just wasn't a favorable situation, period. They tried to use Brian Flores because of his connections in New England to steer Tom Brady in the organization to go ahead and choose us. He knew that Brady was still under contract until a certain date, and he said, "Nah, I can't do that. That's against NFL rules." I have a freaking bro. That's it, bro. You're talking about walking this fine line. Just because
everyone's walking, it's not a fine line. It's a boardwalk. It's a boardwalk.
You're talking about walking a board line like nobody can ever get caught from it.
You're getting caught,
bro. You don't know that is, bro. Okay, at the end of the day, let me just say this, and we'll move to your next point because we'll just go back and forth about the same thing.
All right,
you're asking a grown man who's standing up for his morals and values to, regardless of how minimum the risk is, to put everything he's worked for in the NFL to get to that point at jeopardy, his wife at jeopardy, his kids' livelihood at jeopardy. You're asking him to do all of that for the sake of, but nobody gets caught. That sounds like the same people that's in prison right now. Nobody get caught.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that point.
So I'm sorry, bro. That whole tampering thing, that was his choice to make.
Agreed.
He made it. He doesn't owe anybody cheating. He don't owe anybody, whether it was for Burrow or Tom Brady, he don't owe nobody nothing to compromise what his morals are. So that I'm having a hard time with that one. But the other one, what was that you said? The offering money to tank?
Well, yeah. Well, it goes along the same lines. Like, if he would have got one of the quarterbacks, none of this would probably happen. We wouldn't have the Watson dysfunction. We wouldn't have none of that stuff. And then we wouldn't have had the year we had. It would have been a totally different 2021.
What you were asking Brian Flores to
But
do
it goes to your same point. Yeah.
was start the career that he worked hard for with an intentional losing record. Do you see what they do to African-American coaches with that type of losing record? You just got a prime example in Houston of a guy who actually tried to coach his butt off, had his team competing every week, although it equated into losses because of that roster, but they were competing every week. And you saw what happened to him. You're asking a new head coach to go out and concede to a 2-14 record.
Yeah, a new head coach with a 6-year fully guaranteed contract. Yeah,
who can okay, and how far them 6 years went? How far he got?
He's still getting paid. He's fully guaranteed.
And guess what? He could do the right thing and still get paid. Then you see how that works. It's just a matter of morals, bro. And he wants to uphold his. Who are we to have any criticism of that?
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm with him with the Giants and Broncos stuff. I'm not, but yeah, it's just
you're looking at it from your own benefit of us being happy we have Burrow.
We still have our coach, we have our quarterback. We be talking about how many wins we're gonna get next year right now. That's what we at right now.
Until you get sold out as the only minority coaches and general managers in the league and be the final straw of why they can justify not hiring it anymore. You can be the final example of why you shouldn't hire them. And let me tell you another reason Brian Flores didn't do none of that janky stuff. Because the microscope was on him. He was representing all minorities. Do you understand the responsibility that he was holding? Him and Chris Greer? They were representing all minorities. This was actually supposed to be the study. They were supposed to be the study for the NFL to prove that minorities can win. And he's getting all these landmines thrown his way. No, bro.
Okay, so on that point, right, with the smear campaign, right? So I'm 50-50 on that because, yeah, some of the stuff was like kind of came out left field, but a lot of those stories you heard over the years is that we overlooked that because he was winning. We heard the King Steele story. We heard the Mika Fitzpatrick stuff.
Hold on, one by one. Kenny Steele story. Let's go. See, bro, talk to me about the Kenny Steele story. That ain't had nothing to do with Flores. He was just in the middle. Kenny Steele's had a problem with Stephen Ross. Stephen Ross had a private meeting with Flores and Kenny Steele's. They ended that meeting agreeing to disagree. And the subject of the disagreement was Ross's support for Donald Trump. Okay. Flores didn't give an opinion either way. Flores only cared about making sure that you're focused when you're at work doing your job. All that stuff you can do. Have your fun. If you go kneel, that's your business. Whether Ross wants you or not, that's your business. Flores' only concern was still make sure you still keep your football mind to keep being able to do your job. That's all. So the Kenny Steele thing, I'm sorry. But hold on. You're correct. I'm aware of all that stuff. But my pushback on that is Flores' response to that, King Steele still didn't like that. What he was doing about playing by the music, King Steele didn't like that. That was his choice.
Okay, but it don't matter. He still caused disruption with a player, dude. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Hold on. First of all, that's also a whole nother allegation out there that Flores told the DJ to play this specific song, and it kind of went hand in hand to what Kenny Steele was mad about. I'm sorry, I'm not getting into that.
Okay.
I mean, come on. Now,
so next one,
Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Minkah Fitzpatrick.
Flores had a system. Flores says, I want to play you in multiple positions so you could better your skills as a player to understand what the roles are for the people around you. Minkah didn't like it because he was getting
He wanted to only play free safety.
Because he was getting toasted. But why did Minkah go to Pittsburgh
and only play free safety?
And then that same offseason,
he started complaining. Yeah. I
remember he got traded in the middle of the season, finished up over there, balled out at free safety like he wanted, but Tomlin got him to understand the vision. And what did he say the next offseason? I want to be a Swiss Army knife now. I want to play all the positions now. That's what Flores was trying to do. He just didn't see the vision until it was too late. What the problem with Minkah Fitzpatrick, he got in his feelings because he was looking trash and the media and everybody was dogging him. Even one of his family members came out to defend him, saying, well, it's easy to get beat when you're playing out of position.
His mom did.
She said, well, it's easy when you're playing out of position, but Flores had a bigger picture for that. That's not an issue where Flores is running over a player or being mean to him.
No, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. And at the time, I defended Flores. However, as a coach, or I'll speak I'm a father. So as someone trying to raise someone or help someone, it's give and take. It's give and take. You can't be rigid with everything. And that was the overarching issue there.
Daddy,
so I'm going to play free safety at first. Can we all agree? Is he not a better free safety than McCain?
Yes, he is. But you're missing the big picture. Did we expect to win games that rookie year? Did we expect to win games?
Apparently not. It's supposed to tank.
Thank you. So if we don't expect to win games his rookie year, that's the year that you want to go ahead and get him that experience at other positions. But you say you're a father. Daddy, I want to jump off this balcony. What do you say?
No, I'm gonna save you from yourself. But at the same time,
no. Why can't he? Why?
You got this the wrong choice. But hold on. But if my son asks me, hey, Dad, put me in the best position for me to thrive, I think I can do it. Okay, son, go ahead.
See, that's the difference. Your son asked you that. Minkah didn't. Your son. No.
I know he want to play free safety, and Brian Flores know he want to play free safety.
Hold on. First of all, you're wrong. That ain't the best position for him to thrive. He would have been an even better free safety if he got that experience around him. Because
I agree with you. What I'm saying is it could have been some give and take there. We didn't have to trade him.
Even after he balled out as a free safety, how he been looking since?
Ultimately, we could go back and forth on this. Ultimately, Minkah Fitzpatrick asked for a trade because he did not want to play for Brian Flores. That's what that was. You're right in what you're saying, but he asked for the trade because he did not want to play for him.
And
that's
I disagree.
What it comes down to.
All I could do is go off of the facts. And Minkah Fitzpatrick's statement, this had nothing to do with Brian Flores or Chris Greer. It has something to do with the situation that I'm in, and I just feel like it ain't for me. He did not like. It's simple. It's simple, bro. He didn't want to play anything other than his natural position. And when you use the analogy of Daddy put me in the best position possible, Flores felt being a defensive guy. You may not see it now. It's just like those receivers.
Which he was right for it, which he was right.
Exactly. So he's trying to put him in the best position possible. That's all he's trying to do. He's trying to show him.
But there has to be some give and take, dude. It shouldn't get to the point where we have to trade him.
Bro, once
it shouldn't have got to that point.
No.
It shouldn't have got to that point.
Excuse me. They met with him 4 times and told him.
Stephen Ross did, Greer did, yes. I remember.
They met with him 4 times. In the conclusion of meeting with him, they conceded to what he wanted, but he still said, nah, it just ain't for me. So what are you talking about?
Because he was tired of Flores, bro.
Why do you keep saying Flores? What I'm trying to tell you
because he's not the only player that's tired of him. Gesicki and X don't like him neither. Why is it so hard to fathom that players respect him but don't like him? They respect him but didn't like him.
But that's why we always break this stuff down. Why don't you tell me what Gesicki don't like about Flores? Why don't you tell me where you got that information from too? We gonna wait. Come on. Because he wasn't getting Gesicki the ball. And
there wasn't game plan around Gesicki. That was the issue with him.
Flores wouldn't.
Well, I guess the OCs or whoever, but
no. You said Flores. You said Flores.
Who makes the game plan? Who makes the game plan?
The OC. Flores ain't even an offensive guy.
Under direction of who?
But
under the direction of who?
But I want to go a step further. No, it's not under the direction of Flores. Flores ain't calling the game
so
plan.
you tell me Flores not to tell him what to do?
He's not calling the game plan on offense because he don't even do offense. He's trying to get his OCs to come up with the game plan, and they're using a cumulative approach. But bro, let's take it a step further. You said Gesicki is unhappy the ball ain't coming to him. Tell us where you got that from. But we're gonna keep breaking it down. Tell us where you got that from. We waiting.
No. Well, I'm inferring it from my own watching the game. There were several times in the games where Gesicki would catch the ball and tell Flores, see, look, give me the damn ball. Give me the ball.
That's what you saw.
That never happened.
Bro, you out here making stories based off of what you see during the game and saying, oh, Gesicki ain't getting the ball. He mad at Flores. Gesicki was mad because the ball was coming to him inaccurate. Gesicki was mad that he was wide open.
Tua was the element. Was the element too, but bro, we might not even pay, we weren't even going to pay him. Well, we may or may not. We got head coach, but we might not even we're going to pay him because of Bifo was the coach and he's not a blocking tight end. Like there's a whole schematic thing to why Gesicki was getting erased. It was someone to it. Yeah, we can, but that's all we're arguing right now. There was a scheme issue here between Gesicki and the Brian Flores tight end. There was a problem here. It was all season.
The Brian Flores tight end. What is that?
Well, like you want an all-around tight end. He wants something that can block and catch and do it all. And Gesicki not that dude.
And Brian Flores.
Because we're a package-based team. So
Brian
Gesicki wasn't in a lot of packages because he couldn't block. And that pissed him out because he wasn't on the field.
So Brian Flores should have met him in the middle too and let him just not be able to block.
No, Brian Flores you should put your best players on the field and try to score some points, and stop taking him off the field. That's the issue. Stop taking the man off the field.
If you feel like you can run the ball to score points,
we can't run the ball because we got trash and people like Austin Jackson up front.
Bro, all right, I guess. All right, if that's what you want to believe, that Brian Flores, Gesicki is mad at Brian Flores.
So that's one we can't prove. What about firing the O-line coach 4 weeks into training camp?
Okay,
who thought that is?
That's a good one, bro. Because I read the interview of that OC coach. Flores said that he had decided to go in a different direction.
He was claimed to be one of the best O-line coaches in the league at the time. Of flattery, and we fired him 4 weeks into training camp. Whose fault that is? That's Tua's fault too.
His inability. No, it's his inability. It was his inability to give Brian Flores an O-line that he could look at and say, "Yeah, we ready for war." It's that simple.
What I heard was the issue was he told Brian Flores he didn't want to start some of the young guys because they weren't ready. He wanted to play the vets, and Bifo was like, "No, he want to play the rookie dudes."
Okay, and who did you hear that from?
I heard that from a YouTuber. I heard it from Reason and Big O. So two different sources who don't speak to each other.
Got it. I got it.
So whose fault all the OCs got fired 2 years back to back? That's on Tua too?
No.
Like he did some fireable stuff. So this is the point I make with the smear campaign. I can agree that maybe some stuff was coming out on him that was too much. But to say he was unjust for being fired for being a-hole is I can't go that far. He was justified being fired because every Bill Belichick disciple has the same issue. Josh McDaniels, dude in Detroit, even Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien only lasted long because he was dealing with a pseudo Patriots organization with the Texans. But they all had the same issue. And if that's not good enough for you, you go one step further. Everybody wants Jim Harbaugh. Go listen to about Jim Harbaugh got fired with the 49ers. Him and Jim was not getting along. And his win percentage is better than Brian Flores, and he went to a Super Bowl. So to tell me it was unjustified to fire him, it doesn't make sense to me. It don't make sense to me.
Dolphins A. Why did Stephen Ross say he fired Flores?
Because he couldn't get along with people.
Why did he say he fired Flores?
He said it wasn't on the field. He couldn't get on people in his relationships and communication. The same thing you hear about all of them.
You got to be careful with your words. He didn't say anything about his communication. He didn't say. I will look this up. Yes, please.
Okay. What did he say, GD?
You know what? just to help you out, bro, I'm gonna give you exact quotes.
Thank you. Yeah, I have no problem talking about facts. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Let me know.
Let me go ahead and pull up his exact words.
But all I'm saying is, go look up why Jim Harbaugh got fired.
No,
with a higher win percentage to him and went to the Super Bowl.
Everything
I can agree with the smear campaign part, but don't tell me it wasn't justified to fire him for that. It's like
everything you said was correct in regards to those other coaches, but all I can do is go off of what Stephen Ross said of why he fired Flores. He was very adamant that it had nothing to do with
performance.
Nothing to do with performance and nothing to do with him and Chris Greer's relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find it because this.
I recall he said he didn't have good relationships in general. I don't remember him saying a specific name, and then he know how to communicate with people. That's what I remember, but I could be wrong.
Okay, no. You didn't remember anything. You say you got it from 2 other people.
No. So I got the 2. No, I got the It was what were we talking about with the 2 other people? Not the Stephen Ross thing. That wasn't 2 other people. That hurt myself. I watched this press conference myself. Now I could be remembering wrong, and I'm human, so that's why I said pull it up. But it was something else I got from 2 other people. What we was talking about before that? This YouTube, we can rewind it. We'll figure it out.
All right, you ready? Now,
yes,
I
sir.
want you, when I read you this, I want you to think about the narrative that you're giving me and the narrative that Brian Flores said, okay? When I read this, I want you to think about both narratives. Here we go. Why did you fire Flores? Pretty much was the question. I mean, I've been looking at this over 3 years, which obviously means whatever the issue was been an issue for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, pop-ups keep coming up. And watching the organization grow, and I think an organization can only function if it's collaborative and it's working well together. Do you know what has to happen in collaboration?
Everybody has to get along.
No, collaborative. Everybody don't just have to get along. People got to do what's asked for them to do. Like Tank, like Meet with Brady.
Okay.
And I don't think that we were really working well as an organization that it would take to really win consistently at the NFL level. That's all he said in regards to why he fired Brian Flores. That's it. Give me a second. Let me see if there's any more. Let me see if there's any more. Just in case. All right, roster. Who coach? Question. Structure question. It sounds like this had as much to do with I think coaching tool question.
I'm reading the comments. Y'all funny.
I have a coach in mind. We'll be taking Harbaugh. Experience going forward. Indication from any player on the roster. They did not want Flores. That were put in place. And so I'm wondering what your responsibility Ross took all the responsibility, and that was it. Yeah, that was it. That's all he said in regards to Flores. All the other questions were about Harbaugh, future coaches. Did it have anything to do with Tua? All of that stuff. And then the Watson question, they got every single question on here, and that was the only one. Collaboration.
Okay, so my question becomes, is this not the same thing you heard about all the Belichick disciples? They all have this problem.
No.
It's not the only one this stuff was said about.
That's not what I'm saying. I asked you a question before I read that. Does that sound like it fits more of the narrative that you heard or the narrative that Flores is revealing right now? Collaboration. Because
Both.
if your owner wants you to tank and you say no, is that collaborative?
Agreed. I agree. I've never been arguing.
He said, I've been
that's right or wrong.
He said, I've been studying this for 3 years. That goes back to day one, to the tank days.
Mm-hmm.
This goes all the way back to the tank days. We weren't having these conversations and all that back then. We weren't talking about him arguing with people back then. This goes to Stephen Ross. I've been looking at this situation for 3 years.
He fired Chad after the first year.
Okay, that was his decision. He can fire somebody who had bad performance, didn't get a unit moving.
Okay, so isn't there a negative reflection upon him and his hiring ability? If you hired the wrong dude?
Yeah, but you got to get it right.
Okay.
So you fire him and try to go get another one.
Okay, but that's still a negative remark, though.
Yeah, it could be negative. Nobody said, but they didn't say this was about football. They didn't say this was about firing coaches. They never said that. If somebody give you the worst O-line in the NFL and you fire them, what, he the problem? The person who fired the staff member is the issue?
The person who hired the O-line coach, yeah, he's the problem.
Yeah, but you can't, bro, hold on. Let me get something straight. So you mean to tell me there's 32 O-line coaches that are great?
No, but he fired two. When you fire two good ones in 2 years prior, it's an issue.
Bro,
Pat Flaherty, the first one we hired, Pat Flaherty, he was considered a top O-line coach. He fired him 4 weeks in. His replacement, Guriamo, was considered a good coach. He wasn't top, he was good. Fired him out when Gailey left.
How did he do? How did he do with that O-line?
He did bad with what he was given.
Okay, he did bad.
No, my whole issue is
they need people to move numbers, bro. I'm coming to you, Ron.
All I'm saying is I just think it's a little bit ridiculous. People act like his firing was unjustified. That's the point I'm trying to get at.
But that's the point, because he decided to fire another coach. You're saying, yeah, they should have fired him?
No, he decided to fire coaches 3 years in a row.
Okay,
that's the issue.
First of all, 3 years in a row, the first coach.
I'm sorry, 2 years in a row. Excuse me, I misspoke.
I'm saying, what's wrong with that? It's still the bottom ranked unit in the NFL. You fire them.
Okay, so if the offense can't get right, and then we're not talking about special teams that regress under him, and the defense sort of regress. I mean, why are we pretending like we fired Don Shula?
Bro? This is what I'm trying to say to you. Flores is a defensive guy. He hires an offensive guy, and hopefully they can have his back on that end. They don't have his back. He fired him until he can find somebody that can get it done. He's a defensive guy. That's what they do. So what I'm saying to you is, if you bring Mike McDaniels in here and we fix the offense and the defense is boo-boo trash, he has a right to fire them all and go get a new staff. And if they're
doing 3
trash,
years in a row, then that's fireable.
Yeah, but bro, you act like it's easy to get great coaches in the NFL as a new first-time head coach. It's not easy. Again, y'all want to fire somebody for not being able to attract the best coaches with all the drama we already got going on? People don't want to come coach Tua. They don't want to come coach this O-line.
Okay, so and whose fault is that? Why do people don't want to come here?
Chris Greer for drafting these players. That's Chris Greer. Flores' job is to coach and get the right coaches. And he tried to do it and couldn't do it. What do you do? Hold on, let me ask you a question. So is it better to get a coach that fails and stick with him for 3 years, or try 3 different coaches each year and maybe finally find the right one? Which one is better? At least
Hire
you try
the right
it.
one the first time.
You see, now you're going off of stuff that you can't guarantee. We've never got that right, obviously. We have never got that right. So, and other teams don't either. That's unrealistic, bro. But I got to bring some more people in, bro.
All right, man. Appreciate the time.
All right, man. I got Ron on, and then I'm gonna bring some of the fellas on. I want to hear from Ron because he's been waiting for a long time. And then I'm gonna bring the full panel in. So, guys, let Ron chop it up, but I'm gonna have y'all on the screen. Talk to me, Ron. What you got?
Man. TD, what's going on with your partner, man? Hey,
I'm gonna have y'all on the screen.
I'm good, man.
Talk
so good.
to me, Ron. What you?
Oh man, we got an
Okay.
echo. Daryl, we got an echo, bro.
Somebody must be try to watch the YouTube and through StreamYard. I know
Yeah,
that'll cause it. Man, hey, shout out to you first of all, man. I've been watching you for a while, man. You know what I mean? Since you was about maybe 2,500 in. You know what I mean? Keep doing what you're doing, man. And
appreciate it, man.
I tell you like this, man. I've been a Dolphin fan since I was 13 years old. I'm 48, about to be 49. This is a day for me that will live in infamy. You know what I mean? I had my notifications on, and when I saw you, you know, I seen breaking news. I'm expecting us to behind a coach. I'm getting information about this foolishness that's going on. And let's call it what it is. It's straight up foolishness. You know what I mean? Brian Flores was the best coach we had since Shula, in my opinion. And I've been watching this a long time. And that's even, you notice I didn't say Jimmy Johnson. When we got Jimmy Johnson was retired, basically. You know what I mean? So Brian Flores was a good coach, but I understand, hey, you cut your losses, you move on from people. That's understandable. But if what is being said is true, and this owner has been tampering and trying to throw games, the NFL has to step in and remove this guy. And it shouldn't take that long because what he's doing is to the detriment of the Shield, to the detriment of the league. When you start affecting the bottom line, and you talking about money, because now people have been screaming for years that it's a conspiracy in sports, that it's all about Vegas, it's all about the money. So if it can be proven that people are doing stuff like that, shady stuff, hey, he got to go, man. And hey, shout out to you, man. Keep doing your thing. But I'm gonna tell you like this: Jim Harbaugh. I'm a Michigan fan too, by the way. I'm a Michigan fan, diehard Michigan fan. Jim Harbaugh. If he don't come here, I don't blame him, because I would not with this mess that's going on. And when you brought up the point about, I appreciated what you said about we had the litmus test, so to speak, with the first African-American GM and coach tandem in the NFL. That was a litmus test, and it was looking good. Everybody was talking how great it was. But when you got somebody that can't keep still as an owner and allow people to do their jobs, this is the kind of stuff that you get. We have not had no stability as a franchise. And when you don't have stability as in coaching, and you know this, TD, because you're a very smart, intelligent guy. You've been watching sports as long as I have. When you have continuity, you're going to win games. When you're constantly turning over coaches, you're not going to win. And that's been our biggest problem with this Dolphins franchise, man. And the thing that you were talking about earlier that caught my attention, you know, when you said what the problem is, you know, like I said, I've been watching this thing for a long time. You know, there was a time when I was watching football, you could count the number of black quarterbacks in the league. And you know why? Because there was a stigma saying that black quarterbacks weren't smart enough to play the position. And so when some of these guys start coming in that broke that mold, the Randall Cunningham and these guys, you know what I mean? The who's my other guy for the Houston Oilers? Warren Moon, who had to go play in the CFL before he got his shot and was tearing it up over there. You know what I mean? When these guys started doing what they did, then it's shine the spotlight, say, hey, you know, Doug Williams. Now we can look at African Americans as quarterback. And I thought it would have changed so far as coaching when Tony Dungy finally got that championship in Indianapolis. But it hadn't changed. And I agree with you, something has to be done. Something has to be done. I don't know, because I'm a veteran too, and I'll tell you this. I'm a U.S. veteran from the Army.
Thanks for your service.
And I know there's a lot of like companies that get incentivized from hiring vets. I don't know if it's some kind of incentivized situation got to happen in the NFL.
Yeah.
For
I don't know about the NFL.
You know what I mean? Candidates to get their due, but something has to be done, man, and it has to be like some kind of like mandatory, like, hey, you got to keep these guys for this amount of time and let them coach. You can't get rid of coach. It's unfair to get rid of any coach after year one, unless it's just turmoil. You should never get rid of a coach after year one, because that tells me as an owner, you don't know what you're doing. But back to Stephen Ross, if this thing is proven true, he has to go immediately, man, because we're going to be in some serious trouble for years to come. To your point, nobody's going to want to come in with this mess, man. You know what I mean? And TD, I'll tell you this. I got 3 NFL jerseys. One is the greatest quarterback, in my opinion, to ever suit up, Dan Marino. I bought that jersey. My second jersey is a guy you love to talk about.
Who's that? Ryan Tannehill?
Number 17.
Or Waddle.
Number 17, Teddy Hill. And the guy who I thought, notice I'm gonna preface this real close so people can hear me. The guy I thought was gonna be our quarterback for the next 15 in Tua. I'm here to tell you right now, Tua ain't gonna get it done, man. Not in this division, not in this NFL. He can be a good quarterback, but he's not gonna be the quarterback to take us there. If you got a quarterback that struggles the way he does to throw the ball downfield, and it's just not going to happen. I've seen enough quarterbacks in this Dolphins time that's no, hey, you know what I mean? This guy ain't it, man. But, you know, shout out to the young fella. I love the fact that he's a respectful young man. You know what I mean? That you would hate. If you got a daughter, you want him to date him. But so far as being the quarterback, man, for this team, he's not going to win a title for us, man. So, hey, I'm not going to hold you up much longer, man. Appreciate you allowing me to get on. Hey, Dolphins fans, hold your head. At the end of the day, I'm a Dolphins fan. It's all about that aqua. Hey, it ain't about the name on the back of the jersey, man. It's about the name on the top and on top of my head. I'm about the Dolphins. And if we got to roll Ross up out of here, we got to roll Tua up out of here, I don't care. I'm going to still be a Dolphin, even when all this smoke settled with what's going on right now. We got to stay together, man. And that's what it's about. Later, man.
Appreciate you, homie. Thanks so much, Ron. I'll see you soon, bro. That's what's up. Ball game. Oh, I made a mistake and clicked on a ball game. What's up, man? What's up, Damien? What's good?
What's good, everybody? What's good, everybody? Fans up.
Can you hear me, TD?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. I know you were. I can hear all y'all. I just saw your message, though. Ball game. What you saying?
Nah, man. I was just listening to dude, man. I hear talking about things that he really didn't have no context on, because the whole Minka situation, you know what I mean, that's been broke a long time ago. Those that behind the scene know why Minka really got out of Miami, man. So I don't listen. For me, Flores did a lot of questionable things, you know what I'm saying, especially as a young head coach for the first time. But I don't vilify the guy for that. I just thought that maybe he went a little overboard and jettisoned a lot of the veteran coaches that he had around him. I did criticize him for that. But I also did know that under the situation him and Greer were both in, there was a lot of scrutiny that was going to be placed on a lot of what they did do, as opposed to looking at what they didn't do. You know, if it's the, we're going to call it ace and a spade. If his skin color had been anything other than what it was, he still would have his job right now.
Agreed.
Right? And for Ross to say essentially that they weren't on the same page, basically, you know, that just speaks to more, I think, of what Flores might be saying is true in regards to the fact that he just, his moral compass was set properly, and he just didn't feel comfortable doing things the way they wanted to do it. Now, I think Stephen Ross is an 81-year-old billionaire who really and truthfully, when you were speaking about it earlier, them dudes don't even look at the world the same way we look at, because they don't have to. The rules that apply to common people
accountability.
Like me, listen, I'm a six. I earn 6 figures. I fall smack dab into the top 8% of black men in this country. Huh?
Let me hold some ball game.
Yeah, you know, if you need it, I got you. You know what I'm saying? But even then, the rules are different for me than they are for him. Like they don't really. Ain't no rules for billionaires. They do what they want to do. You know what I mean? And the worst thing is that it's the fan base that's got to deal with this now, because this dude really and truthfully looked at a situation and said to himself, to his black coach of all, hey, I need you to go and talk to Tom for us, basically. Let's see if we can get, you know what I'm saying? Let's see if we can get him to come here to help us here, you know what I'm saying, before he got himself to go to, you know how arrogant that is, bro?
Yeah.
And then to turn around and then think that this dude is just going to fall in line because you gave him a shot as a head coach. You know what I mean? That's one thing, but then to actually get upset about the fact that he didn't want to go along with it and then you ostracize him. I can see that happening. You know why? Because when I was in the military, the exact same happened to me in my first 4 years. Right? There was a very similar situation. Then again, it was in the military, very different. And I had a lieutenant commander that saw what was actually happening to me and was able to get me out of the unit that I was in at that time. And that didn't ruin my career. You feel me? And I was able to go on and do great things and have my 22 years.
And could have ruined it.
It could have ruined it, yeah, because I wouldn't go along with the foolishness that they had going on.
Ball game.
Yes, sir.
Same thing. 22 years in the Air Force. Tell me, what did they used to say when they tried to put you in that position? They said you need to learn how to shut up and color.
Yep, that's it.
Shut up and color. But I'm gonna let you finish saying what you're saying before I say anything, because that other guy that was on, he really just, oh my goodness,
he was just all over the place. You know, listen, everybody's got their opinions, right, and that's fine. But
yes.
I just think this fan base, right, and I've been saying this, and I was saying it as a joke, but really and truthfully, when you think about it, bro, like there has been so much turmoil and issues in this franchise since '73 that I swear, bro, I still feel like they buried some bodies, bro. It's cursed. The organization is cursed. They can't get right. They can't get right. Can't even think about it, bro. Like you had one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game, and I feel like they wasted his career.
Ball game. Just answer me this. Please help me. How in the world can this franchise? I've been watching this franchise since 1969 at 4 years old. How in the world can we go from 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, 1 head coach for 25 years, and then once he leaves, we go from 13 different head coaches, 22 different quarterbacks in just that length of time?
23 now.
23 now.
23. And it's just hyper ridiculous. People don't understand from the standpoint. TD, you couldn't have said
organization for dysfunction
yourself. Today is the day for Black History Month. And Brian Flores is doing something not just for Black history, but to get people to how deep and systemic things can be in this kind of situation. And everybody want to try to attribute it to him about his race when it don't have anything to do with race. This has been going on for the longest period of time. It started with Tony Dungy. Then you see how they did him in Tampa Bay. Got rid of him, brought Gruden in. Gruden wins with the same group of guys that he had in Tampa Bay. But you see what happened to the franchise. Dungy leaves there, goes to Indianapolis, builds that again with Peyton Manning, wins a Super Bowl, and this is the same kind of mess.
I said it. It's the Mark Jackson effect. What he did in Golden State. Yeah. And as soon as it's the same thing. You build a team and then they just fire you, put a different coach in, and you win right away. And it's like, oh, greatness to that coach. And I ain't taking away anything from those coaches that took over. But how it's happening is just so shady, man.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, Damien.
Okay. Because I'm having a little bit of internet trouble.
Shady. I just want to don't even describe it.
I just want to continue on with what everybody was saying. And what you were saying earlier, TD, about the ownership thing with diversity, we won't be able to eat until we have a seat at the table. And that's what it really comes down to. And with the Flores thing and ball game hit on it about him being a black coach, and it's crazy that a black coach first time as being a head coach, knowing that everything's against him, and he's seen what happened up in New England. You want him to go along with cheating, knowing that he's not going to come out clean the way Belichick did. He's not going to come out clean the way the coach down in New Orleans did. He's a black coach, and this is his first time. So he stood up for himself. He had to get it from the mud.
And remember, this was after the fact. The first thing that happened was offering him money to tank. He already had a sour taste in his mouth because he want to take, period. And then you double up with the whole go meet with somebody.
Can you imagine having to go to work every day with
him to be the liaison,
knowing that you could be asked to do something, and then you just think about when you make that decision to say no, knowing you made the right decision. We talk about, and I'm not being funny here, I'm serious. We talk about, think about the stress Tua had to go to work under.
Oh no, that don't even count to this stress. And then the audacity of Stephen Ross, and I hope this ain't a touchy subject for people, but it's real. He thought, and with himself, within his privilege and his billionaire status, that, okay, I can fire this man. He know all this dirt, all the horrible stuff I tried to get him to do.
You cut out D. Double D.
He dropped off.
Man, but I think he felt that he was okay to fire him because this is 2 years after the fact of all of it.
But
can y'all hear me?
Not you back in now.
Okay, thank you, brother.
What were you saying, bro?
No, I was just saying, the audacity of Stephen Ross to do that. And now it's piling up even more. I've been a Dolphin fan since I was 8 years old. I'm 39. He needs to sell the damn team. Plain and simple, man. He needs to sell the damn team. This is getting horrible. They need to put an ownership group and a black person, whether male or female, needs to be the face of that. This stems deep. This is us as black people. We've been going through this since this country was founded.
Bro,
this is what it is, and it's a sad thing, and it's tough.
It won't happen. You're gonna have to have Derrick Jones.
They have to sign on it.
You're gonna have to have all them dudes. No, them dudes gotta die, bro.
Yeah, they gotta sign off on the
lineages. You gotta cut the lineages, because here's the thing: even if they sign up on it, the people that are going
to be it's not past my bedtime. I go to bed at 2 o'clock every morning.
Have already been indoctrinated into the thought process.
Get a grip.
You know what I mean? It's no different than any other type of racism that is still exists in the world. They are built to hold on to exactly what they have.
Power and wealth.
Yes, and they are not going to share it.
They are not sharing it.
Exactly. On any circumstance, they're not going to do it. So unless you're willing to go in there and cut it out at the root, which I just don't know, really and truthfully, if the country will be even willing to do it. You basically have to just say, you know what? Forget the NFL altogether and start over from scratch.
Yeah. But you know what?
That's the only way you can do it. You have to make it so everybody, it's equal for everybody to be able to get in. And the only problem is where you start. You know what I mean? We got a couple billionaire couples and whatnot, but man,
but
they know Stephen Ross and Jerry Jones money. Who got that?
But they know in today you could, all these, even other teams,
right? You put them all together.
You put like 3 or 4 people together, and they bring apart. Magic Johnson tried to do it with the Clippers. They ain't even consider it.
Right.
They got to sign off on it though. All the owners collectively have to sign off on it, and that's the.
And they're not going to do it because when they had those meetings and it's closed doors, you hear it's the real. And those conversations and meetings you never hear about. You think that owner's meeting is the real meeting? Come on, man.
No.
Can I ask y'all a quick question before I have to go? Because I got to get ready for work. And, man, it's a pleasure to be back up here, man.
I don't, Double D.
My thing is that as a Dolphin fan, because I mean, I know we all know the Stephen Ross is type. So, I mean, that's just in life. It's what we have to experience. But as a Dolphin fan, where do we go from here? Because how can you expect black players to want to play here? Because we saw the similar thing with the Clippers, and also don't these players that played in that 2019 season have some type of legal ramifications they can go after because they were getting incentive-based contracts? Like this is a total disaster. Like
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I mean, even if Flo settles, and I can't tell him not to settle because he's basically been a martyr now for all coaches. Like the same instinct with Kaepernick. But if he does go to trial, that discovery will come. That's one privilege of what you get when you go to trial. That discovery has to come, and it will be made public. So if he bucks on them and say, "No, I don't want your money," and goes to trial, it will all come to light.
It ain't gonna happen. That was the only disappointing part about the Kaepernick thing for me. That's what I
wanted.
They ain't gonna ever, you'll never get to that.
Yeah, I know they're gonna use all their money and all their
too much money
power.
out there,
Too much money and power too. So yeah, but I salute the man. He's done a thing where it ain't about his career. He said, "F his career. I'm looking forward."
Well, he legitimately at this point, he's looking out for those that aspire to do what he was able to try to do. You know what I mean? You're paying it forward, right? Somebody got to fall on the
I'm
sword,
gonna bow
man.
out, y'all, because my internet messed up.
All right, appreciate you coming through. Thanks so much, man.
All right, Double D.
Good, man. Y'all have a great night, man. Fins up,
You
y'all.
too.
Yeah, the problem with all of this still becomes like, no matter until they say, okay, let's restructure this thing completely and allow those groups that you were saying, TD, to at least come to the table and present their cases to have ownership and things of that nature. It just ain't gonna happen, bro. Like, it to me, and people might hate me for this comment, but all the NFL for the last couple of years for me. Well, as long as I've been watching football and I started getting more acclimated with the history behind the game and all this stuff, it just it basically shifted. It was rich white men that really went around and had they traveled from plantation to plantation. They took their strongest, fastest, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the biggest guys they had, and they fought them, right? Then you turn around now at this point, and now you just put them in uniforms, and then you just paying them instead of them having to work for fight for their wages and all that stuff. And they kept this thing closed for that primary, because the only people that's able to get in there to do any of this is the guys with the money. And if you look at the color disparity between who the owners are and what they truly representing, it's the same thing. It's a billionaire's boy club. Yeah, and the NFL is just another way for them to flex that.
Well, you know what, ball game, I'm with you on that. However, I will say this. Ross played this wrong. I'm gonna say two things. One, the one person that we're not hearing about through all of this is Chris Greer. And yes, and that's what that's me.
Man, there's Sambos everywhere, bro.
It could be. I'm not denying that it is.
Come on now.
I'm not saying that it's not. What I am saying is this. I cannot help but remember what Dr. Martin Luther King's last speech was before his assassination, when he said, "I've been to the mountaintop." And when he said, "I might not get there with you, but we as a people will get there to the promised land," meaning that he would pave the way for others to have that opportunity. Please keep in mind, Flores is bringing this class action suit. It's not just him that's piling on to this thing. Greer could, not saying that he will, not saying that he won't, but don't you think it would be very convicting if he and Flores were to bring these things to light? Because the very thing that Flores, and what, looking at the comments and looking at what people were saying about Flores when his first started coming out, Flores was there when these very same tampering things were happening at New England. He was trying to save Ross from doing the same stupid things that kept them from getting draft picks, that got them fined and got them everything from that line. And everybody want to sit up here and say, this is not very good for Brian Flores to come out and do these kind of things like this. What's wrong with a man having integrity? It's amazing to me that we want to sit up here and talk about Brian Flores' integrity, but we ready to jump on Tua's integrity as being a Christian and being a man of character, and saying that he getting the short end of the stick. But you can't see that for the man who's sitting up here trying to be the face of the franchise or being the head coach. He was doing the same thing. No, I'm agreeing with your other person that you had on TD. I was getting so ticked off with him being on here talking about Flores getting rid of coaches. You had the first time OC in Chad O'Shea, who couldn't break down a simple concept to help Josh Rosen or Tua to learn anything from an offense. And then you talking about you getting mad because he fired him. Then you bring in Chan Gailey. Chan Gailey sitting up there trying to tell you something about what you got there in that locker room as far as a QB. And then everybody want to sit up here and blame Flores for that when he was trying to tell you the same thing Flores was trying to tell you. They ain't here. We don't have what we need. The only one that's understanding what we're doing was Fitzpatrick. And then you get rid of Fitzpatrick, and now you're left with this, and you bring in dual offensive coordinators. All the time, not understanding that Brian Flores is a rookie head coach in his third year. He's going to make mistakes, just like you were pointing out, ball game. Yeah, he made some mistakes, just like Gribb was making mistakes as being a GM for the first time. Those are things in which you can live with. But what I could not figure out for the life of me and all of the media was why Brian Flores was fired. How in the world can you fire somebody who started off 1-7, never lost his locker room? You come and win 8 straight. You take your team to 9-8, and then all of a sudden, oh, well, he's not the right fit. Sorry. As quoting as you were saying, TD, about what Ross said, he was not willing to collaborate.
Yeah, the 5-11 season don't even count. So
exactly, and y'all, we just Gerald Alexander tweeted, which I'm shocked because he's still on the staff. He's the DB coach in Miami right now. He said, I already had a lot of respect for Brian Flores before today. Today confirmed he's one of the best leaders I've ever been around. Your opinions don't matter. Respect the experience that I had with him as a position coach on his staff the last 2 seasons and the courage he displayed with the news of today and what that can mean for his own career in the coaching profession. And this is basically him speaking up. And this is also confirmation that he had a great experience with Flores there. But I'm shocked that he's going to come out and say that knowing that he's still on the staff. You know what I mean?
TD, even Chad O'Shea being released from being an offensive coordinator didn't have a bad thing to say about Brian Flores of getting fired.
Yeah.
That tells you what type of integrity or why the man, because at least you knew where you stood with the individual. He was a man's man who told you what he thought, what he saw, and what's there. And I'm going to be quiet and let other folks come on here. But I also I have somebody that's on the team. I know what's going on right there. And all I'm going to say is, just like at Houston, because I'm close to the situation at Houston too, understanding what was going on in the franchise, this was above the pay grades of a GM, period. The kind of things that go on in a franchise, like with both of the franchises with Houston and Miami, is above this. Just look at what's been happening. Bullygate, exit situation when it was going on, all these other things that have been transpiring. All of this stuff leads up to a pattern. And it's the same thing. And so right now, the best thing we're hoping is that Stephen Ross sells this team, which he should have done a while ago. Now, he put some money in, and that's the one thing about billionaires, because there's a reason why they're billionaires, is because they got money because they know how to make money. And we can't deny what he's done. Yes, he put some money in, but at the same time, the kind of conniptions and conniving that's going on right now, it goes beyond compare for what you want to see coming from your franchise. And it's a crying shame that we have to sit up here and deal with this kind of foolishness during this time, especially when we ain't got a pot to pee in and a window to throw it out of, seeing we ain't got nothing to show for it in 20-some years of only 2 playoff appearances of coming in as a franchise, with him being the owner. I digress. I'm done. Mr. Ballgame, please continue to educate. TD, keep doing what you're doing, my man. Please do.
It about to be a problem. We finna
But I was loving this. Man, I
gonna be
was
ugly,
loving this
bro.
team before Ross came here. I'm still gonna love this team. And just as you said, TD, time will tell. I'm out, y'all.
Man, I have to question. For me, I just have to question whether I'm actually sane or insane, bro. Because I've been watching the team since 1979, bro. I turn 50 next month, and I still can't really put together. I can't give you 10 happy seasons that I watched.
Damn.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Always some foolishness with this squad. You know what I'm saying? We have the jelly, we have the bread, but we don't have no peanut butter. Or vice versa, they just completely don't have anything at all, and it's just a complete crap show. And here we are again, right back, circling the wagon again, right around to the same type of foolishness.
Ball game is a jam sandwich. 2 pieces of bread jammed together with nothing in between.
Yeah, man, but I want that peanut butter, bro.
They just can't. They can't seem to get all the materials right ever, man. And when it's not on the field, it's in the office. It's crazy. And this is the type of stuff that I don't like. So we get a tweet by one of our beat writers, right? See, this is how I feel like you disingenuous. This is like disingenuous, and you try to deflect the situation. One of the beat writers says, I leave this day asking myself one thing. Why would Brian Flores not take the super secret but common meeting with Tom Brady? Was it his loyalty to Belichick? This is the type of stuff I'm talking about, man.
That's the guy that's whoever wrote that is a guy that you really have to question where his moral compass is.
Omar Kelly.
Now he trying to twist it to make it completely seem like, you know what I'm saying, Brian Flores on some other agenda, being employed by the Dolphins but still working secretly for the Patriots. Like, come on,
that's
man.
interesting, Mr. Ballgame.
Come on, nobody really. No black dude in the NFL gonna work as hard as this dude did to get to where he is, to turn around
and throw it away.
It don't work like that.
And
you know
then then I cannot believe people are out here questioning. Well, hold on, why wouldn't he just take the secretive meeting? I mean, it's common. Oh my God!
And the money. Don't forget the money.
That would be from someone that wakes up. That would be the mindset of someone that wakes up every day with privilege. They don't have to go through the same struggles each and every day to get to a plateau of being able to be recognized for the hard work and the things that you actually accomplished in life, instead of having things laid out in front of you. That would be the mindset of someone that doesn't have those type of struggles. You see what I'm saying?
Have no fear of consequences.
Yeah, exactly. But that is definitely not the life of, unfortunately, the average black man still in this country. That's not the situation that's presented and that they face on a daily basis. You have to be calculated. You have to watch. And you have to dot all your I's and cross all your T's. Because opportunities are very few and far in between. Especially ones inside the NFL.
Yes, indeed. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to leave. Sharif, I'm going to say this one last thing, and I'm going to let y'all go, and I'm going to keep listening because I'm up here studying. It's a dead monkey on the vine somewhere. He's thinking. And things, I think this is only just the tip of the surface. I don't even think the real bombshells have even come out yet. I don't.
You're talking about icebergs then, huh?
Yes, I am.
You just see the top of it, but that
you see the top
underneath. Yeah.
This is just the top. And again, what really got me was when Stephen Ross became more vocal in talking about what he really wanted. Sounded too much like Jerry Jones. I live in Jerry Jones territory here in San Antonio, Texas. And I'm telling you right now, can't nobody here stand Jerry Jones because he messed up a great franchise by being greedy and trying to get too much of himself in the midst of that. And Stephen Ross is doing the same thing. It's one thing if you getting, just like TD was saying, it'll be something if you fire Brian Flores and you got to upgrade in the position. We're not going to even get that now. I doubt even if we get a junior college coach to come in here right now. Somebody we ain't even heard of right now. because of this kind of foolishness that's going on. This is going to take a while. And unfortunately, it's going to take somebody like a David Culley type of individual that's going to have to ride this wave on out, get everything settled down some before new ownership comes in and these things begin to move themselves in a way to whereas this franchise can now begin to get and build upon its foundations from where it was back in 1963 when it started. So
They gotta stop building these. They gotta stop building these stadiums on top of these Indian burial grounds too.
yes. But y'all take it easy and thank you for the opportunity, TD. And ball game, y'all keep educating us, man. Y'all keep educating us. Sharif, God bless you, man.
Take care, Donald. Take care, Donald. Thank you,
Sharif,
sir.
what you got on this, man?
Man, first of all, man, I appreciate Mr. Ballgame's perspective, your perspective, and TD, you've been working very hard the last few days. But I gotta, I'm going to take this, and I appreciate your perspective, looking at this from the minority standpoint. Of course, I'm African American as well. I live in the Bahamas, and what I've noticed, there's actually been a study on this from Sean Rochester, from the Illinois University, on subconscious and conscious racism, from 1920, when kids from the ages of 0 to 25, white kids and black kids, how much money were spent into them. The kids in the southern states and the kids in the New York states, how much education was invested into them. And then, so to speak, and of course, 1865, the planters education bill, to pick, and it just of course, corporate work which supposed to be equal for black and white men, and we all know who those jobs went to, and it just keeps going on. Now, when I take it to the Dolphins, all I've been hearing for the last several months is this person running roughshod through the Dolphins, worse than Gase, worse than Philbin. And what I'm seeing and noticing now, if we take it back to 3 years, if we just take it back to 3 years before, Teddy Bridgewater and all of these Fitzmagic, Stephen Ross has been running roughshod, worse than Jerry Jones, because he's doing it behind the scenes, and he, like Mr. Ballgame said, arrogant enough to think that it won't come back and bite him in the butt with receipts. And like Donald said, this is probably the tip of the iceberg. So what we have here now is we've probably had a perception of Tua being treated bad, coaches being treated bad when he never even needed to deal with the offense since he gave it to Gailey, meaning he was never hands on. So it was really people putting things in place above Greer and above him. When we talk about the Vanoys and the Caros, who really asked to have Vanoy and Caros come across? Was it really Flores? I mean, we have to really question these things, and to be cutting them a year later, just 1 year later, you ran roughshod through this team and sacrificed a black-skinned coach. He was at the helm of taking the falls for all your roughshod moves. And as Dolphin fans, we should just lick these heels and lick these wounds. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Dolphin fans, that you really have to deal with this. Only thing I can say is, like Donald said, to be honest, 32 owners, old boys club, Mr. Ballgame, I don't think they're going to get him to sell this team, because it's not nothing as big as Mr. Sterling did, eh? Mr. Sterling had to,
They're just
I
gonna
think,
smack him on the hand, bro. We're gonna smack him on the hand. We're gonna lose some draft picks. He's gonna be forced to step away from operations for a while. But man, billionaires do billionaire things, bro. And at the end of the day, I don't care how much power they want to say that the players have and how many they get in terms of making decisions and things of that nature. It's not the NBA.
The players run the NBA. NFL is still ran by the owners.
Yep.
And
Can't have
Roger
the
Goodell
prisoners
can
run
walk
the asylum.
around. Roger Goodell can walk around and shake as many hands and smile in people's faces and act like he's all for the players or whatnot. But he is paid by the owners. So at the end of the day,
Yep.
ain't nothing gonna change unless you tear it all down and start it over from the bottom. Start it over from scratch.
And it's that
Sorry, it is what it is.
subconscious. It's that subconscious and conscious racism that still like exists. It's the, hey, you can go on this boat without me even having to ask you. Really, am I gonna have to ask you to come on this boat? Really, am I gonna even have to contempt you to convince this quarterback to come to us in the offseason? You're supposed to be doing this because I'm your billionaire owner. That's subconscious and conscious racism. That means you're only getting the job because they think it's the convenience for me to get what I want. But you're breaking the rules. You're breaking the rules of one of your 31 members. But that's not going to look good.
No.
Bad
Ain't
on them.
no,
That's going to fall on us.
Ain't no rules in there because at the end of the day, the guy that runs the group is the same guy that goes around and does pretty much whatever he wants when he wants. Jerry Jones runs the group, bro.
They make the rules for tampering.
They make
so
the
you
rules.
You think they care about breaking them?
No. And all they doing is trying to compete amongst themselves to beat each other and have bragging rights amongst each other for that, for that trophy at the end of the year. So all fair and love. It's all fair. They don't care what that. They don't care about that. They don't care who they damage in the process as long as they get to win and hold that trophy at the end of the year.
And everybody else got to do their dirty work.
Yeah.
What's up, bro?
So ball game. This story now coming out in Minnesota, right? Where Minnesota's owner is cool with Stephen Ross and maybe trying to fake getting Harbaugh to come over and sign or fake sign or say that he was interviewed only so Stephen Ross could come in and lower him over to Miami as a friend from the owners of Minnesota. Isn't that like more to be like, you got to investigate that, because if that's the case, now you're impeding another team from having an interview with Harbaugh, so you can collude together with Minnesota's owner to get Harbaugh to coach for you.
Yeah,
What's going on here?
I just wasn't able to find anything that really substantiated that.
I'm gonna look at it like this. I'm gonna say him coming out publicly and saying that he wasn't gonna be the reason that Harbaugh would leave Michigan.
Yeah, man.
Is a way for him to really. I mean, he had to know that Brian was going. I mean, like, come on, you fired the dude really unjustly. That's another statement that you make to get out in front of what was potentially probably coming back at you.
Yeah.
Right. And the fan base is like, well, he don't want to pull him away from Michigan. Man, come on, man.
No,
like, really?
There ain't no excuse for that.
No,
man.
No, not at all.
That's some fake stuff to me.
Yeah.
What you think Landon Roberts was telling
for other
Tua?
reasons.
Landon Roberts was probably telling Tua, man, look here, this is almost Brady's team. Ross hate you. I'm only joking.
Yeah, but you know what, bro? How is Tua supposed to feel? You tried to get Brady, you tried to get Burrow, you tried to get Watson. Like,
it's messy, bro. It's the highest level of messiness. Like, no player, I don't care who it is at this point, you can't trust this dude. How do you go unless you look at it strictly from the business standpoint, right? But these guys are in the business of going out there and playing one of the most violent sports on the planet, right? So to some degree, you have to at least go out there feeling like the organization actually gives a crap about you. But then to turn around and see that they put a guy in place who resembles 85% of the team, right? And gave guys opportunities. That's why Nick Needham was so hurt that Brian got fired, because Nick Needham could be at home.
Yeah, he gave a lot of guys
opportunity.
in that year.
A lot of guys opportunities, right?
Yep.
And then to turn around and then you shit can the dude because his moral compass is not as fucked up as you.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Like
the insult of it all is you gave him a roster that you knew wasn't going to win 2 games.
Yeah, exactly.
But he still got 5, and now you're mad that he got them 5.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, did they offer him the money to lose games at the beginning or when he start winning?
That's the question.
I think it was.
That's the real question.
Yeah.
Because there was a moment, I ain't gonna even kid you. I ain't gonna even kid with you. When my son
You already
and I
know where I'm
sitting down,
going. Yep.
And we were thinking
Something
like,
ain't right.
damn, why would man, we could have been the number 1, at least number 1, number 2, instead of 5.
And you wanted Lamar Jackson?
Damn.
You saw that was
No. This is 2019.
No, 2019.
2019.
You saw in that season, Flores took a stand. He rallied the troops.
Yes.
And he wanted to win for a reason.
Because he has integrity. Right? And listen, I know even from a coaching, even from my coaching standpoint, the worst thing you want to do is lose games that you know without a shadow of a doubt you have a possibility of winning. Now, some teams you're just gonna match up against them. They're just gonna beat you. But you can't get your guys, right? You can't get your troops rallied towards the cause if you're out there telling them lose on purpose. Like they're gonna look at you sideways like, what the hell we doing? Coach, what are you talking about, coach? You feel what I'm saying?
And that was one of and that was one of the things that the many people respected about him, that he held it together. I mean, we didn't get Burrow, but we had a streak and we ended the season real nicely to go into the next year.
Cause they tried to get him. They threw the whole kit and caboodle at the Bengals and that offer to try to get Burrow, which at this point tells me really and truthfully they didn't, like you said, TD, they didn't have a fallback plan. They tried to acquire.
They didn't have a plan C.
They tried to acquire another talent. Then that didn't work out. So let's go try to get this kid. Let's go try to get this kid.
TD calls that the plan C didn't work out.
Yeah.
It's plan D.
Plan B. Yeah. All A, B, C, or D didn't work out. So they went with the consolation prize, unfortunately. And you draft this kid, right? Because I have been saying all along, TD, like, there's no way that Flores felt comfortable putting Tua out there coming off that hip that soon. No way. No way.
That's what I was saying.
No real coach, right, that is as player oriented and that seem to be that much in tune with the players is going to put a kid into his position health wise out there that fast. But now it makes sense. That call definitely came from above. Put the kid in, especially after Fitzpatrick. It just got you to a win, got you back on a winning street.
I do you one better though. I do you one better.
About to win. Then at that point,
I do you one better ball game. I want you to think about this. They didn't tank that first season, right? They still wanted a dude. Some could argue we were losing a few games, then we were winning some with Fitz. Once we start winning some with Fitz, they went with Tua.
Yeah.
Knowing that he probably wasn't ready yet, and they went with him thinking that would cause us to still lose even more games. They probably was right back to wanting the tank because we know that wasn't Flores' decision to start put Tua out there.
Right.
And now things are starting to add up. What was that?
Such as many, we can say safely.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the decision to bring in these players.
When you go back and think about it now, all the things that have transpired over the last 2 seasons, with 3 seasons actually, a lot of stuff you can put together now and see how.
Now the pieces are connected, aren't they? Yep. Ain't that crazy? I was telling my wife that in the car. I'm like, this little piece connects to that now. That's when you know there's some truth to it because everything is starting to touch each other and add up and make sense.
Yep.
And think about this. You want me to come on a boat with Brady, right? And if that didn't work out because of my integrity, now you're going to roughshod me with my first draft ever? Then you're not only going to roughshod me, you're not going to get me any lineman that I want. Because, mind you, if you're just asking me to come on a boat to convince somebody, that means I don't have control over anything. You can roughshod my war room in the drop. Come on, guys.
No
Come
wonder he
on,
was so
man. This
excited
man
with the
didn't
Raekwon
have no
Davis
control. He
pickup.
was a sacrificial lamb.
All the defensive guys that he got because he wasn't giving him nothing else he wanted. Man, this is crazy, bro.
I agree.
Like,
listen, we're gonna keep on paying attention to this situation. I gotta be up at 5:30 a.m. because I gotta be ready for Flores press conference on CBS in the morning at 7. I want to see. I just got to see him say it out his own mouth, and I just got to see that. Because I'm wondering if he's gonna be nervous or if he's just gonna speak. He probably gonna look like that shy, nervous Flores when he first got hired. But I gotta see this. I gotta see this in the morning. I suggest all y'all get some rest. 7 Eastern time, 7 a.m. CBS morning show. Him and his 2 lawyers will be on there, and I gotta see how this go down. What's said. So
the worst part about it is he gonna go in there, he gonna tell the truth, and
Yeah.
ain't nothing gonna change in the NFL.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Rodgers supports him. Be the first, because we're talking about people who look for the integrity of being a person. And Aaron Rodgers, right now, they're bombarding him for his decision on doing research for the vaccine, which is neither here nor there. But I wouldn't be surprised if people like Aaron Rodgers
ain't gonna rattle. I doubt that. Maybe he might be a good dude to some people, but he ain't a good dude to everybody. Aaron Rodgers got issues too. So, and him coming out rallying the Flores cause don't change the narrative for him. He's a rich white dude playing a kid's game and made all sorts of money being the face of a franchise. So they don't even have the same issues. He made more money than Flores could ever shake a stick at.
I could tell you who ain't gonna do it. Marino ain't gonna. Marino wish Flores falls down and fell out.
I don't see it.
I can't wait to hear all these big TV personalities what they got to say about this.
The question is, who is gonna come out in defense of him? That's got some clout. That's the question.
I want to see, and some of them will take the opposite side.
If the Bengals owner says it's wrong or something like that, then okay, you got somebody on the side because he kept Marvin Lewis for a long time. Or the Pittsburgh owner, you know what I mean? They run their own situation and they don't even get down with Jerry Jones at that level. I always hear about there being conflict between them camps with Jerry because Jerry's a bully and they just run their own thing. They said, "No, we're not gonna do what y'all do."
See, this is some people's mentality on the screen. So if Flores lost 3 more games in 2019, Bengals game included, that would hurt his resume, but he'd also have Joe Burrow in Miami and his job.
And dude, I actually think the $5 is worth it.
Bro, listen, what some of y'all fail to realize is some people have high character, morals. No amount of money or success is worth compromising your integrity. See, there's too many people that are showing that that's not even in their thought process. And if it's not in your thought process, just respect the fact that it's in others.
Right.
They are brought up different than you. They have morals and integrity that comes before any dollar, any success. That's important to them. And I salute that.
These are bright
Screw Joe Burrow.
These are bright.
Screw having my job if it costs me to do something that can destroy my legacy, destroy my image, my own family, how they view me, how my own wife and my kids view me. Because if it would have hit the fan and it would have been exposed, well, that was slim to none to happen. But if he would have been that one that got exposed, how you think his kids gotta live with knowing, oh, my daddy is the daddy that cheated in the NFL? How you think his wife gonna feel? Yeah, this. Come on, y'all. I don't get this. I don't get people that's basically making it seem like, well, he would have still had his job and this and that. That's the problem. Why do you have to do something bad just to hold on to your freaking job?
Man, gotta look at himself. That man gotta get up every morning and look at himself in the mirror.
Why
And he
is
got
it that
sons,
okay?
bro.
I don't get it. Why is that okay?
People built different, bro. I just don't get it, man. Like,
Why is it okay
it's not
to defend this situation and say, well, he should have just did it so he could have kept his job? Or maybe they should have never put him in that position. Which one should have happened before the other?
Well,
maybe they shouldn't have cheated.
Now, Denver turned him down, right? And really, Denver almost vomited on his freaking lap, right? Both of them were drunk, right? And then he came to the Dolphins itself, let you know that, hey, Stephen Ross will take you if you do such and such a things. Come right into the Dolphins, but hey, you got to come on this boat next week, and such and so forth. So it lets me know that he really wanted the Denver job, but he wanted the Denver interview, didn't get that, so he settled for something that he thought Stephen Ross was a much upright person, which tells us now that he really isn't. But what does that say about the, like you said 30 minutes before, TD, the stress on him having to deal with that from day one 2019, and how Tua had to deal with that, how Fitzmagic had to think of the look on his face when they tore Fitzmagic out of the starting role for him, and he had to
got to go to work every day knowing
conference.
that you got to go to work every day knowing your owner could ask you to do something that breaks the rules of the league,
or make a roster move beyond you. Like, all of a sudden, Tua starting. What the hell? You find out in Burger King drinking coffee, your freaking starting quarterback is gone.
That's total disrespect of you as a coach. That's basically telling you they don't trust your decisions to win ball games,
so
to
you're
put people on the field. Yeah, and you can only take that for so long. And sorry to just butt in, guys. In fact,
no, you're good, bro.
Just want to tell everybody good evening and respect you, Mr. Ball Game,
bro.
Sharif,
Good night.
And everything else, and especially you, TD. I don't know if you remember me, TD, but on that third practice in the off season, I was sitting at the 50 with my kids.
On the left, was it the left or the right?
I was on the left side of you, and I offered you the seat because I know it was the 50th.
Oh yeah, and I was like, "Nah, you good, you good."
Exactly. That was me.
I remember.
Yeah, but I don't typically call in. I've just been sitting back and watching all the shows and following. Everybody. I enjoy the banter. I enjoy the discussion, but today, I was called a bot and Reason kicked me out, so I gotta show my face. So I'm not a bot. You know what I'm saying? He didn't appreciate what I had to say, but anyway, that's beside the point.
Was that you with the old Jay-Z Beyonce tape?
Yeah, he's trying to put the burden on Jay-Z and Beyonce to contribute more to the uplift of blacks in the NFL.
I think what he was saying though is that LeBron has done more than they have done.
Well, let me say this because I know firsthand from firsthand information. They don't move that way. They do tons.
They do a lot.
They intentionally don't want anybody to know. I know people who have gotten money from them,
scholarships,
or forget scholarships. I'm talking about our movements.
Sure.
You stand. There are people that they have told, if you hear of anybody that need resources, and you know that they're about doing what they're doing for real, contact us.
Absolutely.
And I know true stories where it has happened. They've contacted, because I used to criticize Jay-Z for that. Y'all ain't doing nothing. But when I firsthand found out about some stuff that they were doing, they cut the check and say, do not say this was from us.
They want to be anonymous.
No, well, it's that famous line, real G's move in silence like lasagna.
Yeah, so I thought that was an unfair suggestion to make, and I didn't really get a chance to get my point out at all. And my only point, I know it's late, is that all of this plays into the bigger context. And I know you were making that point earlier, TD. What's going on in the Supreme Court? Biden's got to make a choice that he's promised to a black woman. When you look at the charges of reverse racism, this whole issue has the potential to really, really snowball into something bigger than even Flores going on CBS News tomorrow morning. And we'll see what happens here, because the Dolphins have been shady for a long time. There's a reason Jimmy Johnson left this organization. because he wanted to win and make football decisions. And I know it was a different front office then, but somebody was not him to make the moves he wanted to make. And this sort of intrusion from the Dolphins front office, to me, it's been systemic. And I ain't talking about race. I'm just talking about not trusting the guy you hired to win ball games, not supporting that guy with the right picks, with the right support system, not trusting them to make the tough decisions, to make the tough cuts. I mean, it's why we're in the situation we're in now. And I just hope we get better from this, man. I hope we can heal from this and improve on the other end. But I'm one who thought we were a quarterback away. That's why I was pushing so hard for us to make that Deshaun Watson move. So I know I disagree with Mr. Ballgame. You had a different opinion. Sometimes in the comments I would go at you a little bit because I felt like you were on the other side of that. But
my thing, I just wanted to. I've never seen a rebuild, so I wanted to see it played out.
No,
I know that because I see the roster. I see the roster completely different. Some people think we got a roster that can compete. I look at what Kansas City put out there. I look at what the Bills put out there, and I look at what the Bengals are putting out there now, and we ain't nowhere near close to that. So sorry, I don't.
You don't think we're comparable to the Bengals?
Heck no.
No.
Heck no. Look at the stats. Look at the stats. We don't have a T.
Bro,
Higgins. We don't have we got all we got is Waddle, bro.
I think you're operating off of the fact we'll be able to catch up quick, but the problem is they got everything we got. They got the same money just about.
Yeah.
I thought Watson would be the cherry on the
got
top.
A run game.
No, well, maybe our defense might be better.
That's it.
Right.
They got
Overall.
a 1,200-yard back. When the last time we had one of them? One guy by himself toting that rock for 1,200. When we last time we had that?
Yeah, that was
Where
back to Jay Ajayi. Jay Ajayi is Ricky before him.
He gone. He been gone. He ain't in the building.
I muted myself.
And then we don't have who's our T. Higgins?
Yep. Well, like I say, a
Where's our
lot of people
Tyler
down on
Boyd?
Devontae Parker. I believe I still got some hope for Devontae. I might be wrong.
After
but
7 seasons, really? 7 seasons?
I think he's an effective.
T. Higgins done passed him in 2 seasons, bro. T. Higgins has done more in 2 seasons than Devontae Parker's done in 7, bro. You holding on to the wrong. You got your money betting on the wrong horse, bro. Sorry, we picked the dud.
With the way he's been
dud,
tweeting,
bro.
With the way he's been tweeting, I think you might be right because I ain't been following the logic of his tweets. So
He's a dud, bro.
Yeah,
he know it. He just been lucky that the Dolphins have been such a crap show that they haven't won and clean house the way they should have been. He should have been gone after the first 4 years of his contract because he didn't give us nothing then. And now we are going on year 8 expecting that there was going to be some difference. Players don't – if he either had it or not, and he ain't showed us no time he had it other than in a season where they were just throwing up 50-50 balls and hoping and praying with Fitzmagic running around like a chicken with his head cut off. That was it.
I'm glad you brought that up.
So why would anybody really pin your hopes on Devontae Parker being anything other than what he's been? And he's been lackluster. What was he, number 15?
When Fitzpatrick was quarterback, he looked really good.
Every other wide receiver in the draft class has bypassed him, bro. The ones that were drafted after him have outperformed him light and day. Diggs was taken in the 4th round. And they're not even in the same stratosphere. Tyler Lockett was taken in the 5th round. Not even in the same stratosphere. Jamison Crowder has better stats than Devontae Parker. And he with the crappy Jets now. And he's their number 1 receiver. Like, come on, bro. Devontae Parker, no.
Who do you think asked to sign Devontae Parker during that game? Do you remember during that game they signed Devontae Parker to a 2-year contract? During his first catch of that game, they re-signed. It's like they broke out the news during the game. Who do you think made that move now that we think about it? Because Flores is a guy like this. TD talks about this. We all talk about this ball game. In practice, if you're not playing, you're not good enough. Flores is not going to put you on the field. I could see Flores getting rid of him, like you said, in the first year, because Flores needs you on the field, just like Belichick or any other good coach. You're not on the field, we don't need you. So to me, someone had to say, we're not getting rid of Devontae. You're going to have to keep him and deal with it. Look, man, it just tells me if McDaniel comes in here, he's going to get roughshod. And look, that's what it may take to bring the best out of this team.
Coach this crap show, bro. The Dolphins play on. Who? Listen, first off, Sharif, who in a right mind right now would even want this? The Dolphins. I have been saying this throughout the offseason that Watson was Chernobyl. The Dolphins just became Chernobyl.
We're more than Watson.
Yeah,
Come
this
on,
is
bro.
much bigger. This is much bigger than our debates
Like,
about
who
players.
in their right mind is going to attach themselves to this nuclear?
Watch this.
Watson is an atomic bomb. This is a nuclear nightmare.
I was a guy pushing for Harbaugh as the only guy that I could convince myself would have been an upgrade over Flores. But there's no way. There's no way he would come here.
Not only head
Caldwell
coach.
was my number 2. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's out of the question. I think he just signed with Minnesota anyway.
Not only
Caldwell was my number 2.
Think about attachments, though. Think about attachments. Not only does new head coach. Not only does
they're building a staff.
Think about the hardened blue hate Flores. Well, it has still to be flow. Oh, still it's flow. No, it's not flow. It's proof in your face. How can you say it's flow now? I want to see all these backtrackers tomorrow.
They ain't gonna backtrack. They're gonna double down.
They're doubling down already, tripling down. I mean, to them it was a cult-like following. I
was hard on the dude. I was hard on him because I always thought that young.
But remember, ball game.
I wanted
Greer
and Flo gone.
See, here's the issue that I have.
1-7.
This is the issue. Information was put out there. It's all we had. It's all we had to believe. Some people had some opposing information, but still, regardless, it don't matter if somebody went hard on him before. What matters, at least for me, in my opinion, is after you done heard both sides,
right? Now,
how do you react to it?
Right.
And people, I don't understand these people that's doubling, tripling down. That's not adding up for me because some of this stuff is beyond obvious. And don't get me wrong, they're going to come out with articles and stories that make it seem like they proven that stuff ain't right. This situation is enough proof already for everybody to be cautious and sit back. We can have our opinions tonight and get all on this, but we got to sit back and just watch this situation unfold because I think this is just the beginning. I want to hear what Greer say and Tom Brady say.
Yeah.
What gets me is this idea that, Flores has sacrificed any chance of getting a future job. The Dolphins been trying to do that for 2 weeks.
But hold on.
The guy.
But that's even further. That's even further proof. Why should someone's truth sabotage their ability to get a job? See, these are the things that show you the issues that we deal with in society today. For people to even openly say, he ain't getting another job. Well, don't stop there. Recognize that that's an issue.
They're missing the bigger picture.
You're missing the bigger picture.
That is part of the nepotism, the corruption.
That is corruption in itself that he wouldn't get a job because he's telling his truth.
Right.
That's right. You got to be a yes man.
This surface thinking, man, I don't get it.
Well, I suspect it was a cult thing, man. I mean, I didn't want to go too deep with it, but the way these people attacked Flores even before this thing came up was a constant state of aggravation for me. But I just sucked it in because, I'm used to it at this stage. That's how certain coaches are treated. And I don't, we all black up in here. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? That was par for the course. And he was going to have to be excellent. And and to a large degree, he was. I mean, my coach used to tell me, you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit, right?
That's it.
And but he made he almost did it with some of the players we had. Win 5 games that first season.
And to further that, here's what I get frustrated about. Flores does have his faults, y'all. Yeah. Flores ain't the angel in this whole situation.
Yep.
But let's not let those faults diminish what he's claiming.
Show me one first
Two
year coach
things
who's
can
perfect.
be right. He may have not had a great interpersonal skills or personal skills with people. He may have been an a-hole sometimes, but that still does not negate the things that he are claiming. If it is true, nobody can convince me that didn't also play a factor in decisions that were being made as far as his firing. Integrity got Flores fired. Let that ring in.
Yeah, Greer got to look at. I want to see where Greer gonna stand up.
Man, I already know the answer to that, EM, and I'll be surprised if it's obvious opposite of what I think. We already know. Come on, I already know. I've been saying that man is a shrewd operator since you knew me, ball game.
I want to know. I want to know who it was who was trying to get Watson to settle, because the false rumor was that it was Flores. I don't. At this point, I know it wasn't Flores.
I heard it was. I heard it was Ross.
It was Ross.
That's
what I
tampering.
suspect.
If Flores were,
I ain't never heard it was
it's
Flores.
like
I heard it was Ross trying to
what's
get him
the
to
name?
settle those.
Okay.
Ball
well,
game.
that
What's the
makes
name
sense.
of the defensive end that we tried to get from the Houston Texans a year ago?
Omenahu? Was that it? Charles Omenahu? No.
Who?
I forgot his name, but it was the defensive end we was trying to get from the Texans. He would have fit well in our scheme.
Clowney.
Yeah,
and it was
Clowney.
the off season that Flores talked to him, but they was trying to say
That was Clowney.
They was trying to say Flores was tampering. Right. You see, but that's the thing. That Flores wasn't tampering because Flores has integrity. He's not going to do that. He's going to let the season go by and let Clowney do his thing.
Clowney was a free agent.
These
anyway,
things
so
come.
There wasn't no tampering with that.
You see what I'm saying? So
people were upset about the fact that he chose to go elsewhere when they felt like we was a clear front runner for him to land and join with us. But like he even said, there was things about the organization that didn't feel right to him even then. So that's why he signed elsewhere for less money.
Exactly.
So here we are looking at
Exactly.
another
And why do you
2
think
to 3
Clowney
years
did that?
before we could even feel confident about making improvements, in my opinion.
They finna strip. If this stuff come out to be true, they finna snatch draft picks.
Draft
sorts,
picks.
man. They finna.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's finna be
Money. We're gonna lose cap space.
Big O
Sanctions.
Big O just tweeted, said if this is true about the selling and tanking for the money, this is the lowest point in Dolphins history.
I'm glad to hear him say that.
Yep.
Yeah. Because he be having some.
Like I
definitely.
said, Big O respected the fact that.
Yeah, I ain't gonna go there, bro.
Don't get me started, bro.
Like you said, man,
it's
Flores.
it's disgusting to me.
Yeah, Flores wasn't perfect, and he'll probably, like I wrote in here, he'll probably tell you himself he made some major mistakes going along with some stuff.
One hell of an apology, bro. If they find it, if all this stuff turns out to be 100% true. But you know what, PD? Like we said, you put the pieces together. There's got to be some validity to it.
Everything is fit together like a perfect puzzle.
Like a
everything is big as this.
You can't even see the creases of the
lower than
puzzle.
Donald
It's a perfect picture.
Now I just need Brady to say yes. It was the Dolphins that I was talking about on
They had
Tom
Brady on the yacht. Brady on the yacht.
Where I said
Listen,
you're gonna go
man.
with this guy over me, and that would be Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Hey, Sharif, that yacht was probably headed right over to Nassau, man.
Hey, y'all, listen, man. Let's get out of here, man. I gotta get some sleep for the morning. I gotta get some sleep for the morning, y'all. I gotta see this press conference, man. I appreciate y'all coming through.
Peace,
man.
peace.
And I don't want to end it abruptly, but I'm
Yeah,
I'm past midnight, man.
Good, man. I'll holler at you offline tomorrow, TD.
I appreciate it, ball game. Please do.
Yeah, for sure.
All right,
Y'all be
y'all.
easy.
I will see y'all later. This TD Fans Talk, home of the real Miami
Gentlemen, take
Dolphin
care,
fans.
man.
All right, Sharif, and thanks for coming through,
Good
Sharif.
night. Respect to all y'all gentlemen.
Anytime.
Thank you so much, bro. Thanks for coming through, Kerry. Well, I didn't realize I ain't in the stream first, so let me end it.